at? The bottle's getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, February 2nd to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. It is a big Friday for us here today. It is also an interesting night. Last night was the lowest volume, the lowest amount of action I've had in my career on a live show day. Two bets. I cashed them both, and I moved on them live. So I cashed Nebraska, and then moved on them live plus 12.5. I cashed New Mexico State and moved on them live plus 5.5. Both were outright winners. I mean, could have been massive, but it's fine. And I didn't like it. I want more action. But I keep stressing how important it is to succeed here. And, I needed a winning day. I booked a winning day. Now we need another one. It's been a profitable week. Our guests have been very strong. We need more wins, and we want to have fun doing it. So it's always more fun when you're getting paid. And let's just keep it rolling. We have a perfect schedule today. We have 10 NBA games, 15 NCAA basketball games. So each and every single one of them will be capped here on today's show. And I wish we could do that with college basketball, running so strong. I'm at 60.7% on the year. I wish we could do that every day. I wish there was more time. I wish we could just, focus on college basketball. But at least on these Fridays, we can focus on college basketball. And shout out to Mikey Money with yet another winning day today. What a great week he's had. Our guy Dabby Cab, another winning week, another winning day as well. We're running real nice. We're running nice, and it feels good. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. We got Fap win. Water Polo Championship Round 1. Romania live plus 10.5. Says, no way Hungary should be a favorite in this game. A floating turd could transition from this defense to attack faster than this team. This our guy Fap win. Little live Water Polo Championship Round action. Need to copy and paste this. I find it very, very interesting. And I will keep an eye on that. Fap win. And his Vat of Lube in business here with us. Dan Kelly says, a couple weeks ago, touted Cavs to win the Central plus 750. Yes, you did. Today, I can cash that out and bet plus 135 for the winner. If I were smart, I would have split that into two bets and then would have cashed out half of it today. It's an interesting way of handling things, Dan. Our guy, Kelly McInnes, he does that. He goes for big scores. He goes for 5 and 6 game parlays, but he even goes for bigger ones. He goes for 5, 6, and he bets them twice. Bets each one twice with that in mind. Catches one out, lets the other one ride. So interesting way of handling things. Stacks play today from Justin McKelvey. Brown minus 2.5. Looking forward to hammer this college basketball card here. So we have a Brown minus 2.5 at home versus Pennsylvania Quakers. Gonna hammer that one. And let's move this up here. So let's roll. Brian Watson in the house. Sammy Culmer giving us some WTA action. Pavlyuchenkova. Set 1 money line minus 125. There is our guy Kelly McInnes in the house. Billy Friedrich up 3 units yesterday, and Joseph Thompson with his best bets: Penn Brown over 40 and Princeton Yale. Over 140 and Princeton Yale over that same number. So let's get that here. Princeton Yale. We'll put it there because we're going to cap that game before we cap the Brown game. So have that in business. North Ender says Shane Monahan to the Jets, hoping that the Habs get Perfetti in return. Perfetti is going nowhere. Perfetti's a monster. I love Perfetti. I think he's got a huge bright side, way bigger. He's worth way more than Monahan in my estimation. But we'll see. Billy Friedrich likes the Columbia Harvard under a 149.5. Let's copy and paste that here. That Columbia under. Very important to have everybody's information. It's working and working and working. So let's make sure we got that for the Columbia Harvard spot in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Copy and paste that. That is in a business as well. And then we have our big poker game tonight. Jose Bouquet will be hosting the live stream. I will be with him, so I will help that out. And I can't wait for it. Let's take a look and see how many. I'm nervous to look how many players we got. 8. Okay, we're moving in the right direction. We need over 50. We had 48 last week. We need over 50. So we have 8 right now. Thank you to those who've joined. Let's see. Why don't we take a gander and see who is in our Bet Online poker tournament? This is it's going to be so much fun. So I'm in it. There's Joe T. We got Ian Shaber, Peter Lojak, Preston. Look at that. Say Hey, Jose Slaughter. We have Ramon Scott in this as well. And if anybody wants to join and also go in on a $50 last longest contest, so far Dutch Boy Fresh is in it. So is Ramon Scott and myself. So there's a 150 little side pot there for who lasts longest. So just get in touch with me. But we're going to keep looking and see if any of you guys can sign up and help us build this poker tournament. I can't wait for it. So that is at 8 p.m. this evening. And $50 buy-in, $25. Oh, we got all the rules that we wanted. I read it wrong. We also have the breaks every hour, just like we want. So everything that we asked for, we got. We need you guys to all be a part of it. And don't forget the horse race today. We're going to switch it up. We're going to do a 2-minute horse race at the end of the show for all of our gold members here at Pub Sports Radio. If you're a gold member, you get automatically entered every Wednesday and Friday for a $50 horse race. And that will be popping off a 2-minute horse race today. So those are the most important things. We're coming off of a winning night and we're having a winning week. That's most important. We need to keep winning. Next most important is a poker tournament tonight. We can have some fun, have some drinks, and live bet some sports. And then, of course, our horse race at the end of today's show. Billy Friedrich also liking that Yale over. So there's Mikey Money in the house. Excellent work as always, Mikey. But he's monster week. Very important to succeed here. A Real Deal Prime Series business. Morgan Spooner has locked in Toledo plus 4.5. Mount St. Mary's and Niagara first half plus 2.5. I'll just put that right under the title of NCAA basketball so we can go through those as we got on. Ian Shaber and Joe T, thank you guys for being in the poker tournament. It means so much to us. Jay Smooth Ball's play of the day is the over 133. Over 133. Let's take a look at that. Niagara St. Peter's over. That's at the Yanatelli Center, Jersey City. I love knowing that we're going to cap each and every one of these college basketball games. It makes me know that there's not some easy angle that we're missing. Dan Kelly says, do they celebrate the deliriously enjoyable holiday of Groundhog Day in Canada? Yeah, it's huge. It's a massive thing here. I can't explain that. And Brian Watson hoping that with North End that trade's going to happen as well. There's my guy Brent Cook, and now says slow wins though. Yeah, I'm not going to reach. This is a business, and it took everything for me not to bet Denver, and that turned out to be a 15-point loss. It just but it also took everything for me not to be on the Sixers last night against all of you guys who were on the Jazz. It just made no sense. It made no sense whatsoever that 90% of the cash was on the Jazz and that line wasn't moving. And I've got to just pull the trigger on those things, I think, So there was a lot of sitting there like staring at the line, staring at the spots for hours and hours, and then only having 2 bets. But, they both cashed, and we got the live winners as well. Kelly McInnes, Knicks minus 2.5. Kelly McInnes on an island in that one. That looked good. Ian Shaber says today's cap, Yale minus 1, Marist minus 3, Kent Buffalo under 148.5. Let's have that all set up for us. Ian Shaber, who's also going to be in our poker tournament tonight. I can't wait. Gotta hit the liquor store. Licks, boy. NCAA spreadsheet play day is Cornell, the Big Red. That's an interesting game run. Dartmouth coming off shooting 60% from 3, 12 of 20. We know how bad they are. And they both play again tomorrow. So both Cornell and Dartmouth on the first half of the back. Now, they don't play each other. So it's a strange spot. It is a strange spot here. Copied and pasted. The spreadsheet play today is in from Ron Crawford. Joy Harb, just looking for the top 10 in this race. And spreadsheet play today for Ron is the Suns as well. Can't wait to get into this NBA card. Spent a lot of time on it and forced myself not to make. There was a couple bets I was like, you know what? No, just stick with the plan. Let the market fully develop. It's been working, letting the market fully develop. So great to see all of you guys. Michael Johnson in the house. Mel says another move, Monahan to Winnipeg. It's amazing that he's resurrected his career. There was a time where I thought he, at this point in his career, would be top 5 center in the league. When him and Goodrow started popping off, Monahan was so big. It's a lot of, players when they get that big contract, they don't take that next step. I don't know what it is. Don't lose the quick twitch. I don't know. Sean Pulliam in the house. And Swiss Horton says Kent State -8 smash spot from our guy Swiss. Kent State -8 smash spot. And that is our first game on the board. It's everybody's first game on the board because it starts at 6:30 p.m. That's at Kent State at the Buffalo Bulls. So we got Bobano ready to rock, and we'll hammer that one. And then let's get Billy Friedrich's action in here as well. Love seeing everybody's action in the chat so we can discuss it throughout. Okay, that's copied and pasted here. Morgan Spooner says, look at the Mount St. Mary's and Maris game. Looks like the wrong team favored. And Joe T says, the wife gave me the all clear to play and hop on with you guys. I love it. Joe T making his Pub Sports Radio debut on our poker live stream tonight. I can't wait. Joe T, it's going to be dope. Matty Ice now. Oh, don't forget $50 bounties on the head of Slaughter and I as well. So, looking at this tournament already, we have what? Let's go back to it here. We have how many? 8 p.m. today. We have 8 in, and so there's also, an extra $100 with bounties on this one, and we're gonna have the add-ons, and there's gonna be the side action for Who Lasts Long. It's going to be a lot of fun. So great to see all you guys. Cody Norton, Rocco Rogers, Nate Dogg 420, Rem Most says, any thoughts on the NHL All-Star Skills Competition winner? 0 thoughts. Not one single. You asking me that is the first thought I've had on it, and I hope it's the last thought that I have on it. And I don't mean to be negative on Rem Most because I want to celebrate sports. But I'm not interested at all. I have no interest whatsoever. I mean, I just Subhuman Gaucho, the soccer play of the day, Athletic Bilbao, Moneyline, and Gurizetta, -103 for our guy Subhuman Gaucho in the house. DC Kaparoff, yet another win. Impressive. Dan Kelly says, everyone was on Memphis last night, and the line moved towards Cleveland. I watched the game. I think the line movement would have been right if Allen doesn't get hurt. Sometimes the books lose. Oh, that's absolutely true. Jared Bush says, I bet horses. What race and horse? Well, Jose, let's show him. So, Jose, voice of God, we need to come in. We have 48 gold members, or has it gone up?
49 gold members. 49 gold members.
Gold
it's very
members.
Nice. Yeah, it's very nice. It's nice to see you, by the way. I love when new people come in the chat and ask, what horse race? This horse race.
Yes. If you are a gold member, you have free entry every Wednesday and Friday. Well, that's the only way to get in. You can't buy your way in. It's just for gold members every Wednesday and Friday. And Jared Bush, it's a big one. $50 to the winner. And if Slaughter, Preston, or I win, we just put the cash back in. It'll be $100 for the next one. Billy Friedrich says Cornell by 20. Jared Bush on Kuzma under 22.5. Miles Johnson talking about Yale. We're going to get there. Brent Cook says Magic +8. Smash it. Chase J says I absolutely love Portland to cover tonight against the Nuggets. Interesting, Chase J. You think they're going to follow after that emotional basketball game? I can't wait to talk that out. Rodney Barton says my Orioles, Jimmy, finally spending money. What a monster pickup. Let's get Jose back for this. Who can beat this Orioles squad and their starting pitching rotation now?
That's a great question. Their starting pitching is not that great, but their hitting is going to be good. And now that they're serious in the AL East, everyone in the AL East should be worried because You know, that's going to be concerning because they're cheap right now. This next 5 years are going to be their time. So, and plus they have to re-sign Corbin Burns, so it doesn't really matter if they don't re-sign him. But yeah, they're going to be good and they're going to win the AL East next year.
I agree. There's Matty Ice, star of the Taint play of the day. And look at that. We have a new member of our horse record. Mikey Money just fucking swimming in cash. He's these Scrooge McDuck swimming into a pool of coins after his incredible week. Upgraded to PSR. So we now have 50 racing here. 50 racing here. So let's roll. Johnny K in the house. Markel, Wine Time Sports, Kongs, Clips. Great to see all of you guys. Let's get right to work. The number of gold members going up is not a selling point. No, it is a selling point, Dan Kelly, because the more members, the more money we're going to put in. It is a selling point. We want more members in the horse race so the prize can go up. So I disagree. I disagree. Jared Bush still confused with what horse. We won't go through it again. But yes, we have our own horse race. 50 for the pony. So yes, Dan, it's important. It's important. The more gold members, the more money we can put into this thing. Okay, let's get to work. Thank you guys for joining us. Happy Friday to all of you. The stakes are high. Let De La Soul get us into this. Let's have another winning day today. Let's get that cash. Let's bring on your guest here, your star of Fridays here on Betting with the Bag. He has been very strong. Now, he went 20-12 on the 2 shows ago and 3 shows ago. Last show, a 5-5. Nothing wrong with 5-5. 5-5, still ahead on the season, in the black on the season, and that's what we want. Billy Fury says, potholes on my lawn. I love it. All right, so here we go. It is time to get to work. Please welcome from Canada's black and yellow, Canada's Steel Town, our guy, Mr. Ian Cameron, to the show. Bobano, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, Jimmy. Yeah, just college basketball today with the NHL on break, so looking forward to it.
So am I. These Fridays have been very profitable for me until last week. Last week, I dropped the ball. College basketball is fine. I only had 2 bets in college basketball, 1-on-1. But last Friday hurt me. I had a great run of Fridays, and I really want to go right back to it. There's our guy, Top Set, saying, great day for Gulfstream Park. Great to see you, Top Set. Top Set, we need you for the poker tournament tonight. And if you can, jump in on the poker tournament. But let's get to work here right now. 6:30 p.m. We get started with the Kent State.
We have a breaking news trade, by the way, in the NHL. Sean Monahan's been traded from the Habs to the Jets.
Yes, but they're saying that Perfetti could come back, and I was like, that's impossible.
Yeah,
that's impossible, right?
I'd be shocked if they put him in that deal.
I would be beside myself, angry, and it's actually not angry. I mean, I don't really. I kind of want Winnipeg to succeed because they're a small market, but Perfetti's
looks like it's just a first round and a conditional pick going to Montreal.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But let's roll here with some.
You don't take anyone off your roster of a current roster of a team that's trying to contend in the playoffs and for the Stanley Cup. It's that simple.
And they're a good hockey team.
Yep.
They're a good hockey team. I'm on there over 91.5 points.
That is all the hockey we will talk about today.
Let's roll here. Kent State heading to Alumni Arena in Buffalo, New York. We have Swiss Horton saying Kent State -8 is a smash spot. Yes, Dav Fenn, every single game in NCAA basketball and NBA will be capped here. We have 15 NCAA games with Bobano and 10 with LJ. Let's get into the line history and the cash flow for this spot. And roll. So here we go. From a spread perspective, we have Kent State sitting here at -8. We are using BetOnline opening and closing odds. Please, if you're looking for a new account, do it through our site, pubsportsradio.com. They will give you 100% bonus, all the way up to $1,000, and it doesn't have to be Bitcoin. It can be just cash entry. So this has been a huge move towards Buffalo. They go from +10.5 down to +7.5. We just got some buyback an hour and 20 minutes ago, a half point buyback, but now it's also juiced to Kent State at -8.5. But a big move here towards Buffalo. From a total perspective, we're sitting at a 147. This opened up at 148.5, dropped down to 146.5. We have a half point of buyback to 147. From a cash flow standpoint, get to all markets here. It's all Kent State, 85% of tickets and 98% of the cash. Then why has this moved so violently towards Buffalo? 61% of tickets and 57% of cash on this over. Kent State coming in off its third loss in 4 games on Tuesday, 71-67 at home to Miami of Ohio. That came on the heels of a 71-64 home loss last Friday versus Ohio, and that's who Buffalo comes in off of, a horrific loss at Ohio. I mean, they were 13.5 point dogs, but they lose 91-70. Just no defense whatsoever in that basketball game. Very, 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 very interesting. Take it away here, Bobano. First game on the board. Do you agree with Swiss Horton that this is a Kent State smash spot?
I don't know if it is. They're not playing well. They're not a team I'm comfortable laying 8 with. And I don't want Buffalo. I have nothing more to say in this game. Easy pass. Nothing.
I am interested in Buffalo because of the market movement, but hearing Swiss saying Kent State is a smash spot does make me pause. Billy Friedrich says Buffalo 0-8 against the spread at home.
How do you think Buffalo, too? They're that bad. They're awful. But, I mean, Kent State's not playing good. Kent State has beaten the weaklings in this conference, and they've looked bad, and they've looked bad in victory in some of these games in the weaklings against this MAC conference. So, I don't want to lay 8 with them. Not in their current form. Just won't do it. Buffalo's horrible, but Kent's form is not good. Kent's form is not let's lay 8 on the road with them form right now.
Team Cat Whisper like in the under. And BT, you do not need to be here. You can, if you are a gold member, that's all that we need. And you will be in, you'll be able to get the cash, and we will let you know that you have got that cash. So don't worry about a thing if you can't be here. Billy Friedrich has had this one line at Kent State -5. I mean, this is a pretty violent move towards the Bulls here, who are just 1-7 in conference. Maybe Swiss Horton saying that this is a smash spot will keep me off of looking at Buffalo, but I'd be curious to see if the line goes back towards Kent State a little bit to make it even nicer. So I'm certainly not going to bet this as soon as this show's over, but I do have interest. There's Red Girl in the house. Great to see you, Red Girl. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7 p.m. Eastern. We have the St. Bonaventure Bonnies, 13-7, 4-4 in the A10. At the number 21 ranked Dayton Flyers, 17-3, 7-1 in the A10. We're in Dayton, Ohio for this one. Billy Friedrich is on Dayton -7.5. By the way, Ian Shaber's on that Kent Buffalo under. Just looking at the spots that were sent to us here. And the Taint play of the day is in from Matty Ice, and it is Dayton. And Billy Friedrich following that with Dayton by 15. A lot of love for Dayton, and the Bonnies playing better basketball. But this is, oh, God, sorry, I screwed this up. Let me just fix this here. Get this up here. So Dayton being backed by Billy, and as well the Taint play of the day. Shout out to our guy, Matty Ice, delivering Taint in game 2 of today's program. All right, let's set this one up. We have the Bonnies +7.5 right now. They opened up at +7. There's been a half-point move towards Dayton. It's also juiced to Dayton. So it's a half-point plus towards Dayton over at BetOnline. From a total standpoint here, we are sitting with a 135. This opened up at 133.5. Got to 134.5, and then this morning it's up to 135. So we have a move to the over and a very slight move towards Dayton. Let's take a look at the cash flow and see if it follows suit. We have 79% of tickets and 92% of the cash on Dayton. Wow. And then 61% of tickets, 55% cash on the over. Take it away for us here, Bobano, the Bonnies versus the Flyers.
So, St. Bonaventure's been good to me lately. They have been. They've cashed some tickets for me in back-to-back games here against St. Joe's and VCU. 2 very good wins. Look, VCU, they got off to a horrible start. They were down double digits and found a way to rally, come back, and win that game. That being said, both of those were at home, and a pretty good home court that they have there at St. Bonaventure in Olean, New York. This has always been a team under Mark Schmidt. They played good basketball at home. On the road, not so much. And so that becomes the concern for me here. If you actually look, that they did have a nice road win at VCU, but when you factor in that they beat VCU again in the revenge spot for VCU, just a few days ago, it makes you wonder, maybe they just match up well against the Rams of VCU. But the other road games in conference have not gone well for this St. Bonnie's team. They lose by 11 at Richmond, a short road chalk. They lose by 9 at George Mason, as slight road underdogs, and then they were pretty much a pick 'em at Duquesne. They lost that game as well. So just haven't been very good on the road. Not enough good stuff from them on the road consistently to really trust them here against a Dayton team that looks like probably the best team in the A-10 right now. Anthony Grant's done a great job. Not only do they have a pretty efficient offense, but they've definitely got probably the best defense in this conference for sure. They're an outstanding defensive team. Deron Holmes is an outstanding player. Nate Santos as well. Just a really good basketball team. They got inside-outside balance. They play great defense, as evidenced by the fact that they're only giving up 40%. Their field goal percentage defense is 27th in the country. That's absolutely outstanding. As far as St. Bonaventure, their numbers on the road have been a little bit lacking as far as consistency shooting the basketball. That's a concern. And then you go back and you look at the last 3 times these two teams have faced off against one another in Dayton. And look, they only played each other. Don't play each other every single year. Like last year, these two teams only met once at St. Bonaventure. So you actually have to go back to 2 years ago when they played at Dayton. But 2 years ago at Dayton, it was 68-50 Dayton. 2020 in January, it was 86-60 for Dayton. So 2 wipeouts here for this Dayton Flyers team over St. Bonaventure the last 2 times they've hosted them. So pretty hard to ignore that. I'm going to lay the points here with the Flyers. Like I said, it kind of hurts me to go against St. Bonaventure, Jimmy, but this road track record's not what you want to see against a team in Dayton that has shown repeatedly they are capable of just eviscerating teams on this home floor. So Dayton -6.5, -132 at Proline Plus. First play for me. For
-6.5 with Dayton. Interesting, the Bonnies off that second straight win at home over VCU. They were 4.5-point favorites, and here in the chat, from our guys saying that just don't trust what you see from that victory. Mikey saying don't let the Bonnies.
Think about the last win too. They're down by like 12 in the blink of an eye against VCU at home and staring down the barrel of a defeat. And they battle back. They gut it out. They exert all that energy and effort to come all the way back and beat VCU at home the other night in a down-to-the-wire thriller. Now you got to go on the road a few days later against this Dayton team. It just feels like this could be tough ask here for the Bonnies.
It's interesting because they didn't play well. I mean, you said it. They were down. I mean, they shot 22.7 from 3. They won the battle of the boards. They didn't play that well. Dayton coming off its 14th win in 15 games. I know why people believe in them. They shot 50% from 3, easily won 83-61 at home versus George Washington's 12.5-point favorites. Andrew G giving us a 10-point Dayton win with his supercomputer. Matty Ice says perfect breakdown, Ian. So we have Billy Friedrich saying Dayton by 15. Taint play today is Dayton -7.5, and Bobano just moved on Dayton -6.5 at -132. Let's roll on. Next up, we head to the Big Ten, 7 p.m. Eastern. Ohio State Buckeyes 13-8, 3-7 in the Big Ten at Iowa. Hawkeyes 12-9, 4-6. We're at Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City, Iowa. Take a look at the line history here for this one. First, we know that this opened up right at 5. The first move was towards Iowa. They went to -6. That happened in an hour and a half yesterday. But then it came right back. It came right back to 5. They are slightly juiced. So we've had a 2-cent move. That's it. Just a 2-cent move at BetOnline towards Iowa. From a total standpoint, we're sitting at a 156.5. This opened up at 157. So it's a half-point move to the under. Not much there. Let's get to the cash flow then. Just 22% of the tickets and 23% of the cash on Ohio State. the line's not moving towards Iowa with this money on them. 78% of tickets and 93% cash on the over, and that line's not moving. Ohio State comes in off their third straight loss, 87-75 at home versus Illinois on Tuesday's 2.5-point dogs. Iowa comes in off its third loss in 4 games, 74-68 at Indiana on Tuesday's 1.5-point favorites. They were out-rebounded by Iowa, or sorry, they were out-rebounded by 13, Iowa. So take it away here for us, Bobano. What are your thoughts on Buckeyes, Hawkeyes?
Yeah, Morgan, you've got your coaches mixed up. Hoiberg coaches at Nebraska. This is Chris Holtman. That's Ohio State's coach, but that's okay. That's neither here nor there. If you like Ohio State, that's fine. I can't back Ohio State. I mean, they're 0-4 ATS on the Big Ten road. I mean, they've been demolished in every Big Ten road game. That being said, I'm really hesitant to pull the trigger with Iowa. Do you see Iowa's form right now? It's not very good. You know, it's not very good at all at this point in time. Their only win in the last 4 games is at Michigan, who's awful, who's brutal this season. I mean, other than that, Purdue lost at home, which is no shame because Purdue's excellent. But how about losing it at home to Maryland, 69-67 as 5-point favorites? That Indiana game, don't be fooled by that final score. They were getting destroyed in the first half of that game, and I think Indiana kind of relaxed, in that game with the big lead and kind of let Iowa get back into it. But I guess if I had to, I'd lean Iowa, but because I just can't take Ohio State on the road. The Ohio State is a stark track record of failure repeatedly on the road. 25-point loss at Northwestern, 14-point loss at Nebraska, an 8-point loss to a bottom feeder Michigan team, 6-point loss at Indiana. I mean, they've just been terrible on the road. So, but I don't know. There's something that concerns me because I thought for sure this is one of those games where the lack of line movement toward Iowa does concern me about backing Iowa. Like, it's not moving. And in fact, 5.5 down to 5, in some spots with this line. But I can't take Ohio State. And I don't like this Iowa team enough. I don't like their lack of defense most of the time. And I don't trust Fran McCaffrey. I think this guy's got to get canned. Seriously. It's time to move on from this man. I mean, enough is enough. What good has he done for this team? Has he really taken them to the promised land, to that next level? He's only good for blowing up on the sideline and treating his players like dog shit. That's about the only 2 things he's good for, Fran McCaffrey. So I'm sick of this guy. I'm sick of this program. I don't trust them right now, laying 5 in this spot. And as far as the total goes in this game, I am kind of interested in the over in this one, because if you look at last year when they played at Iowa, it was 92-75 in favor of the Hawkeyes. And Iowa usually at home, they're going to get the game into a bit of an up and down kind of pace, because you look at a lot of these home games this season prior to the Purdue and Maryland game. Those 2 stayed under. The Purdue game just barely did. But before that, they were kind of trending over. You look at Ohio State, too. The one thing that concerns me is on the road, their defense has been atrocious. And even the loss at home against Illinois, their defense was atrocious, 87-75. They've gone over in 3 straight. So while we can't get there with the side, I think we can get there with this total. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go Ohio State, Iowa over 156, -120 at Pinnacle.
Over 156 at -124, Bobano. I mean, looking at this market, I don't know how you can't have interest in the Buckeyes. Getting caught up with how bad they've been on the road and what, look, we saw in Nebraska last night. I mean, some teams are just so much stronger in their conference at home. Billy Britt says Big Ten home teams are 38-28-1 against the spread. My season has been strong focusing on these spots, where the public is on one side and the line's moving in the opposite direction. So I find Ohio State extremely appealing. And in fact, if I was, and I've got to, figure this out as we go through the show, but with the way the market is, I kind of find St. Bonaventure appealing with just the 0.5-point move towards them, despite all the money, being on Dayton. But that one, we have you on Dayton, Matty Ice Taint play of the day on Dayton, and Billy Friedrich saying Dayton by 15. So that's easy, right?
Here's the thing. Here's the difference between the 2. Dayton, I trust to get the job done. Dayton's got a track record of blowing out teams at home, being outstanding on that home floor at UD Arena, which is also site of the first 4 every year. to get the NCAA tournament going. They have a track record of getting the job done. Game in, game out at home, Dayton. Iowa doesn't. Okay, Iowa's actually spit the bit here in these recent home games, including the Maryland game when they were 5-point favorites. So to me, the difference in the two, the line movement might be a little similar, but the difference is Dayton, I think, is a lot more trustworthy of a home favorite tonight than Iowa is.
I love it. I absolutely love
Dayton
it.
plays defense. Iowa doesn't.
Well,
That's all you need to know.
And Ridley Briz saying Ohio State hasn't won the road game all year. I find I'm going to look deeper into this spot. I find, I find Ohio State with this market appealing here. So we got the news that Todd McClellan has been fired by the Kings. Rocco Rogers saying Kings are still missing the playoffs. Does this mean Brant Clark might play for them now? I mean, they might have the next Quinn Hughes, as sitting in the AHL right now.
What? I think they're going to hire Berube. I really do. I just got that sense that Berube is going to be the guy they get.
I think that the Kings team is so.
It's time for old school fucking snap people's heads into attention, just like they did when they brought Daryl Sutter in many, many years ago. I think that's where they're going to go. Yeah.
But just bring in Brant Clark. I don't. If anybody watched him in Barrie, that last year he was in Barrie, there's been no defenseman. If you ask the scouts, there's been no defenseman that dominant in the last 10 years.
Jim Hiller, interim coach for the rest of the season.
Okay, well, there we go. There goes that.
I'll have to study that here. All right. It's important news. It is important.
And they did say for the remainder of the season.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'll need to study that more. Big shout out to Razor Sharp Picks giving us his full Gulfstream Park card. He put so much work into that. Last Friday, he gave us a $1,000 pick 5 in this action. So shout out to our guy Razor. And I kept catch last Friday. He's got that in the chat. And on Wednesday, the pick 5 for 400. Love it. Thank you, Razor Sharp Picks. 101 betting said people believe in Bonaventure. They've been actually fighting. Buckeyes been horrible on the road, and Iowa only -5. Yeah, it's okay. But I mean, for me here, it's easy for me to let go of the Bonnies just from you guys being so adamant and bullish on Dayton. Here, nobody's sitting here, adamant and bullish on Iowa. Okay, let's roll on. Next up, we have the Cornell Big Red, 15-3, 4-0 in the Ivy League. At Dartmouth Big Green, 5-12, 1-3 in conference. We're in Hanover for this one. And we also have Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play of the day. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play of the day is on Cornell -10. This is a real interesting one. Both teams on the first half of a back-to-back. They don't play each other, but both teams playing again tomorrow. From a total side of things here, we have a 151.5. This opened up at 153.5 and has dropped. It got down to 150.5. So we have a point of buyback, but it has dropped from a point spread situation. We have Cornell right now at -10.5 at BetOnline. This opened up at -13. So we have a 2.5 point move towards the mean green. Cornell comes in off its 5th straight win in 8 to 9 games, 83-68 at home to Princeton on Saturdays, 2.5 point dogs. Dartmouth snapped their 5-game losing streak with that 75-71 win at home over Brown on Saturdays, 4.5 point dogs. They shot 12 of 20 from 3 in the victory, something that we can say will not be replicated here. But the first half of the back-to-back does make me, we know that the benches will be used a little more for Cornell in this one. Let's hear what Bobano has to say. Oh, let's look at the cash flow. Sorry, important piece of the puzzle here. Take a look at the cash flow for this. You have 18% of the tickets and 53% of the cash on Dartmouth. I mean, that's sharp action that's moved this line. Then you have 88% of the tickets and 88% of cash on the under. So both spots where the big bets have come in, the line's moved in that direction. Coach Mitten says Cornell -10.5 in the under, and this one for him, he says 80-60 type game. Billy Frieder says Cornell shoots 50.5% from the floor, while Dartmouth shoots 39.5%. 101 Benny says definitely a Cornell spot, can't back Dartmouth whatsoever. And Rick J says -9, -10 type lines, his favorite in college basketball. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Ivy League action in Hanover, New Hampshire.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Cornell's the much better of these two teams. They won at Dartmouth by 11 last year as 8-point road favorites, but 11-point win, which would get the job done here, but it kind of feels like you don't have a boatload of value here with Cornell. I mean, I definitely don't want to back Dartmouth, but you're right. It's a back-to-back situation. That's the way the Ivy League goes with this conference. Friday, Saturday, back-to-back games usually for many of the teams, and that's what we see here with these two teams today and tomorrow. If you look at Ivy League statistics in particular, and again, we're now well into conference play. What have we been in conference play for? About a month. So there's definitely enough sample size and enough data to really, look at these conference-only numbers. And when you look at it right now, you've got just such a discrepancy. Cornell's an excellent offensive team, but a very good defensive team as well. Second in the conference in offensive efficiency and third in defensive efficiency. The only team that's better than them offensively is Yale, and the only two teams that are better than them defensively are Yale and Princeton. So, they're a very good team at both ends of the floor. Dartmouth is not so much. I mean, 7th in tempo, 8th offensive and defensive efficiency. At home this year, Dartmouth does have a winning record. They do play better at home, 5-3. They haven't won on the road. But in some of these home losses, when they've stepped up in class against, your Yale, Cornell, Princeton, your dynamic trio in this conference, I mean, they lost at Princeton by 18, didn't cover. And home against Yale, they lost 76-51 by 25. So I'm not at all convinced Dartmouth can step up in class here in this one. They are coming off a win, in their last game. Credit to them against Brown, 75-71. Not so sure that's a sign of things to come here necessarily in this game tonight against Dartmouth. I'm going to see what the team total is for Cornell because I could be though it is 81.5, pretty high number here in this game. I'm going to lean to Cornell, but I'm going to stay off it.
I think the under makes enormous sense here. I can't, despite the market move towards Dartmouth, I can't sit here expecting they're going to shoot 60% from three in this basketball game. I'm not going to.
No, that's not their norm.
Yeah, but it's the first half of back-to-back. I mean, you got to expect both coaches to, empty the bench to some extent, and I think that the under, then I should bet here during the show. I need to bet right now. I think this will keep dropping. I'm trying to stay away from totals, but this really makes sense to me why it's done what it's done. So, I mean, Andrew G giving us a final score, that goes way, or not, I guess not way over, but goes over. And I just don't see how that would happen here. So I'm going to let go of an interest in Dartmouth because of what they did last game and move forward with the under. And I've been trying so hard to stay away from totals, but I'd like to bet that while this show's going on. I plan on doing that here at some point. So let's roll on. Next up, 7 p.m. Eastern, we head to the Metro Atlantic. Siena Saints 3-17, 2-7 at the Ryder Bronx 7-13, 4-5. We're in Lawrenceville, New Jersey for this one. Let's get this set up. From a total scenario, we're dealing with a 137. This opened up. So this is the movement on this game's being the most extreme we've seen of any game that I've seen in college that we've capped together. First off, this total opened up at 130 yesterday at noon. It's at 137. 7-point move there. Then from a spread, and these are bet online moves, this opened up at plus 18. We're down to plus 10.5 for Siena. I mean, we're just talking monstrous moves. And then from a cash flow perspective here, we have 24% of the tickets and 53% of the cash on Ryder. It's all very confusing. 33% of the tickets and 73% cash on the over. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Siena coming off its fourth straight loss, 63-52 at home to St. Peter's on Sundays, 9.5-point dogs. Ryder comes in off their second straight win, 66-62 at Mount St. Mary's on Saturday. Mervyn James went for 26 in the victory. Take it away for us. And I love that, Dan. Thank you. I will copy and paste that for our NBA action. Thank you for sharing that with us. But take it away for us here, Bobano, a little Metro Atlantic action.
Yeah. I think there's some good opportunity here with this game. I mean, we've talked about Siena every week because it's Friday night. It's Metro Atlantic Friday night, and we've talked about how Siena's not obviously had a dreadful year, 3-17 straight up, and just 7-13 against the spread. So they haven't even been, a big time point spread team. And look, they've lost their last 2 games in the conference, Iona and St. Peter's at home. But we have also talked about this with Siena. They have been. It's one of the weirdest things you'll ever see. They cannot cover a number at home. They can't. They're incapable at home of covering a number. But you get them on the road, and look what they have done. 5 straight ATS covers on the road. 5-0 ATS on the road for Siena in their last 5 games on the highway. At Brown, lose by 4. UMass cover the game as 17.5-point dogs. At Canisius in conference play, 9-point dog, lose by 4. At Niagara, 5.5-point dog, win outright against a very good Niagara team. At Marist, 6.5-point dog. Last time they were on the road in this role, they lost by 2. This has been a great point spread role for Siena. Not only that, but they've been beaten up to shit all year by the injury bug, and it looks like this could be the healthiest roster that head coach Carmen Massarello has had at his disposal in a very long time. So we're talking about a team that has obviously taken their, taken their punches this year, taken their licks, and now they're at a point where they're on the road. They're as a dog, where they've been terrific from an ATS standpoint, and it looks like they're going to have a much healthier roster. They could have, 2 of their top 4 players back on the floor from injury tonight, and that is absolutely significant. And I think that is exactly what the betting markets are seeing and driving this price down on Siena. That and the fact that when you look at Ryder, is this a team we trust to win by margin other than a pretty bad Manhattan team? They've either lost in conference or they've barely won. They beat Canisius by only 3, St. Peter's by only 5, Mount St. Mary's by only 4. This is not a win by margin kind of team that we have here with the Ryder Bronx. So I'm in total agreement with the market here. We're on Siena, plus 11, minus 108 at Pinnacle.
Siena plus 11 for Bobano. So Bobano on Siena plus 11 at minus 108. And 101 Benny saying someone knew something about that and hammered it. It was a pretty wild move. Opened up at 12:08 p.m. at plus 18. 10 minutes later, they moved it 17.5. 11 minutes later, they moved to 17. Then
I'll tell you what, we don't do a show on Sunday, obviously, but again, these Siena is going to play again on Sunday at Iona. I'm going to be on them again at Iona. Whatever happens tonight, I don't care. I'll be on them again at Iona. Not only a revenge spot at Iona on Sunday because they lost 70-51 at home against Iona just last Friday. But now they get to face Iona again on the road as a dog where they've been money makers, and they get to do so with a much healthier roster now going into that game on Sunday. So whatever happens with Siena tonight, I'll be back on them again on Sunday at Iona.
Another important point to this all is that there's limits when this line comes out yesterday afternoon. The books are trying to get the information. So it's not like somebody got in there with a 50K bet to move this line. It was just that the sharps came in with limits, and the books acknowledged it. So that was the situation here. So we have Bobano moving on Siena plus 11 and moving on them again on Sunday. I love that information right there. So let's move on to our next spot on the board. Let me get this line movement set up. We stay in the Metro Atlantic. The Quinnipiac Bobcats playing very good basketball right now. 16-4, 8-1 in conference. In the Manhattan Jaspers, 5-13, 2-7. We're in Draddy Gymnasium, Riverdale, New York. Quinny coming off their 7th straight win. And it was an impressive one. 66-64 at Fairfield on Sundays, 1.5-point dogs. And then Manhattan snapped their 10-game losing streak with an 84-78 overtime victory at Niagara as 9.5-point dogs. They said there was 900 fans at that game in Niagara. Mikey Money and I got to get to one of these games. They said there was 900 fans. I couldn't see any. I saw the cheerleader, from the shots that they were showing that I was watching, I couldn't see any. So we need to stress this a little more, that the home court advantage is just not nearly as difficult to handle as in other spots. Here we go, though. Let's roll. Quinny opening up at -6.5. They're now at -7. So this has bounced from 6.5 to 7 a couple times. This has gone up to 7.5 a few times, and always it's come back. So right now we have a 0.5 point move towards the Bobcats. We get to the total here in this one. We open up at 149.5, and we're now up to 152.5. We did get up to 153 at one point. And then a cash flow here for this Quinny spot. We have 34% of the tickets and 66% of the cash on Manhattan. Interesting. 79% of tickets on the under. We don't know the cash flow, but it's interesting. I find it interesting that some sharp action believes that Manhattan can be in this basketball game. So, how do we look at what just happened at Niagara? Do we think that they can carry on the momentum? It's not usually something that I really think. Cole Chris says Quinn cashes. Billy Friedrich says Quinnipiac by double digits and a heavy lean to the under. Andrew G giving us a final score of 69-8. Quinnipiac 80, Manhattan 69. Take it away for us here. Great to see Turnsey in the house. And one thing to look at it. Sorry, Swiss Horde and I will look into that in a second. But let's hear what our guy Bobano is doing. Quinnipiac, Manhattan.
First thing, I want to go back to Siena because I forgot to add the over in that. I'm on the over as well in that Siena and Ryder game just a minute ago. Over 136.5 at -108 at Betano. And the reason for that is because Siena's getting healthy, and it's two of their best offensive players that are upgraded to probable to return tonight. Two of their better scorers. So not only to me is Siena undervalued right now, Siena's overs or totals, I think, are a little undervalued toward over. And look, they've had some unders. They've had trouble scoring. No question about that. They've played to the under. Riders played to the under as well the last couple. But I think there's definitely, if these two guys play, as I'm being led to believe, there's huge value in overs right now with Siena because this is absolutely two of their better offensive players and two of their better scorers. So I'm on over 136.5. They're -108 with Siena and Ryder. As far as Quinnipiac and Manhattan go, Manhattan's pretty bad, but I'll give them credit. They had a very nice win in their last game against Niagara, 84-78, went to overtime. It was a really an entertaining game. This is still an awful team defensively. They've given up 80+ in three of their last four, and that's actually an improvement defensively by their standards when they played Niagara in that last game. Quinnipiac continues to roll along nicely, a 7-game win streak. 6-1 ATS their last 7 games. We'll see if they can keep it rolling here. These teams played already once this year at Quinnipiac, just last month, 76-59 in that game in favor of Quinnipiac. Last year at Manhattan, they won 84-65 head-to-head against this team. 4 of the last 5 meetings have gone over the total. Manhattan's actually trending over the total, and it's not surprising. They're scoring a little bit more. Their defense is just not at all very good. So the bet for me is the over here as well. That's what I'm involved with here with Quinnipiac and Manhattan. I don't know about, when a team has that one victory like Manhattan did, it's not like this team has a track record of winning basketball games. So I'm always leery. It's almost like, yeah, we got that one win. Let me see you back it up and do it again before I'm ready to back a team like the Jaspers again. But I do think we'll see points in this game. So we'll roll with over 151.5 -110 at Bet365.
Let's get that for you. I just got the under 151. My first total in a long time. I'm trying to stay away from them in basketball. So we got you the what was it? Over one? What was the number?
Over 151.5 -110. Yep.
You are locked in. Bobano is locked in. And, I'm with Cody Norton saying that the market would lead us to believe that the Jaspers are live here. I need to sit with the idea of snapping the 10-game losing streak. I mean, so does that mean that they're going to feel better coming into the gym? Like, I've got to, generally speaking, it's just a different situation. I would not want to back a team after a nice performance generally. I kind of look for, unless I think that they're going to have an elongated run. But here, maybe it's a little different because they did snap that 10-game losing streak.
They've blown out bad teams in this conference on the road. That would be the concern for taking Manhattan here. If you look at Quinnipiac, Fairfield's a pretty good team, so to only beat them by 2, no big deal. But when they played the bad teams, Siena, 82-70, Marist, they won by 11. They're a mediocre team. And then they had some road non-conference performances against inferior teams. Lafayette won by 18. Holy Cross won by 20. They've been a pretty good bully on the road, Quinnipiac. And I kind of thought Manhattan at the very beginning too. Maybe I looked their way, but there were things that talked me out of it.
Okay. Yeah. And then, Robert Franklin, right, saying Niagara shot 3 of 16 from 3 against Manhattan. Give me Quinnipiac. They were 9.5-point dogs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who cares? Like, if Niagara shoots 6 for 16 or so, they were still in that game. They were still probably going to cover that game. For me, it was more like, do I think Dartmouth is going to shoot 60% from 3 again? Yeah. They're a bad team. No, we don't. They shoot less than 40% from the field. Yeah. But could that be the Jaspers playing better perimeter defense? I mean, I didn't watch the game. I can't tell you that.
I did because I get all those Metro games. I love it. I get them all on my special little.
That's fun.
Subscribe to, and I get every single one of those little small conference games. I love watching them, and I saw a lot of that game. They missed some open looks, Niagara. They really did, and that's been uncharacteristic of them lately.
I would like to go to these games. I would like to go to Niagara games and
that little Gallagher Center. I know it's a nice little cozy little gym there. Yeah,
I'd like to do that so we could meet up with Mikey Money. Let's set that up. But let's roll on. Next up, 7 p.m. Eastern, we have the Niagara Purple Eagles 10-10, 6-4 in the Metro Atlantic at St. Peter's Peacocks 11-7, 7-2 in conference. We're in Jersey City for this one. Let's get into this situation here. Let's get into the situation here. As we said, Purple Eagles had their 3-game winning streak snapped in that real ugly performance at home versus Manhattan. Is this a bounce back spot for them? Bobano has had a great read on them. I believe he's been on them against Marist and against Ryder. I believe you've backed them 2 straight Fridays and won with them. St. Peter's coming off their second win in 3 games. 63-52 at Siena. They beat Canisius at home. They followed that up with a 5-point loss versus Ryder at home. But they're a game out of the lead in the Metro Atlantic. They're right there. They're right behind Quinnipiac here, these Peacocks. So an interesting spot, exact same rest situation. From a line perspective, Niagara opened up at +6.5, and they're now at +3.5. Just a monstrous move towards Niagara with the expected bounce back after a poor performance. Cody Norton on Niagara money line in this one. What can you say? Just a huge move towards the Purple Eagles. From a total standpoint, we have a 133. This opened up at 135.5, and the first move was to 136. It went up, but then it dropped. When we get to the cash flow, you could imagine there's going to be a sharp action here. Let's see it on Niagara, and there is 55% of the tickets and 88% of the cash. And then 13% of the tickets, 66% cash on the under. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Purple Eagles, the Peacocks.
Yeah, I mean, it's Friday. It's a Niagara Purple Eagles game. It's Niagara in the over for the millionth time for me on this show on a Friday. And that's exactly what we're on here in this game. They've been awesome on the road. And not only is this, a Niagara team that's been great on the road, and I mean great from an ATS standpoint. It covered against Syracuse at the Carrier Dome, or whatever it's called now. 17-point dog. They lost by 12. Buffalo won outright as a dog. At Manhattan, 2.5-point road favorites, won by 14. At Iona, 9.5-point dogs. They won by 2. At Ryder, 2.5-point dogs, won outright, 78-74. Mount St. Mary's, 5-point dogs, won outright, 82-71. I mean, this Niagara team's just been a road warrior. And now we've got them off a frustrating loss against Manhattan where they just didn't shoot well. It was just not – this is a very good offensive team. They did not have a great offensive game the other night. 45% from the field, but especially from three-point range, 19%, 3 for 16 in that game. They were absolutely atrocious from beyond the arc. They're better shooting the team than that. Now, St. Peter's is a very good, stingy defensive team, but we know they can sometimes struggle to put the ball in the basket. The one thing Niagara will do, they will let you score on you. I mean, this is not a team. This is a team that's going to win even though they give up 70 points because in a lot of these games, they'll score into the high 70s and even in the 80s. So definitely, I think Niagara. And 2, it's a revenge spot indeed. Chat saying that it is indeed a revenge spot. These two teams played December December 1st, late 2023. It was Niagara losing at home against St. Peter's 72-67 in that game. So you've got this classic college basketball angle that's great when you've got a home team that loses the first game, and now they're a road underdog in the revenge matchup, in the rematch. The road dog is a really strong angle in revenge for a home loss earlier in the season. It's a very good angle across all conferences in college basketball. So yes, this was actually one of the first bets I made on this card was Niagara, and I didn't even get the best number. You could say all you want. This line opened 6. 6 lasted for like 2 seconds, and then it went right down to 5, and then I think the 5s lasted for like 2 minutes after that. So really, it's been around 3.5, 4 most of the day, and now it's dropped a little further over the last several hours down to 3.5, 3. So, it's not just me, obviously, that likes this spot. It makes total sense. For me, it's Niagara. Best number right now, plus 3.5, minus 110. And I'm also going to grab the over here, 132.5, minus 110 at Caesars.
Let's grab that for you. The over 132.5. Was that minus 110?
That's right. Bounce back for the offense. Yeah.
And what are you getting Niagara at?
Plus 3.5, minus 110.
Plus 3.5 at minus 110. Again, with Bet Online coming out so early, it does give you an advantage, if you've put in the work on the card, because, you could have got those 6.5s and 6s. When we go over to Pinnacle, which obviously wants to know what they've moved it to 3, by the way. And Pinnacle had that 6 open just for like 30 minutes.
They're 9-1 against the spread on the road this year for the entire season, Niagara. Wow.
The 5.5 was available till 10:30 last night.
Yep.
Locked and loaded for Bobano. Niagara plus the points in the over 132.5. And that aligns with the smooth balls play today from our guy, Jay Smooth. He's on the over 133 in this one as well. Let's roll on. Next up for us, Metro Atlantic action. Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers 7-13, 3-6 in the Metro Atlantic at the Marist Red Foxes 10-8, 5-4 in the Metro Atlantic. We're at McCann Arena for this one. Mount St. Mary's losers of 3 straight. They're coming off a loss on Saturday, 66-62 at home to Ryder. Not an impressive performance. They shot 22.2% from 3. Ryder didn't shoot any better from 3. It was a very, very close game that didn't fall their way late. So that's Mount St. Mary's off of 3 straight losses. Marist has won 2 of their last 3. They were last seen on Sunday in an 80-71 win at Canisius. They get to come home for this one. And home is 600. This is not the conference where we got to be too concerned about the home advantage. So Mount St. Mary's, Marist Red Foxes. Let's take a look at the line history here from a total perspective. Where's that Marist game? Here we go. From a total, we are sitting here at 128.5 at Bet Online. This opened at 128. It got up to 129, came back to 128.5. So we just have a half-point move towards the over. Very little there. Again, we're going to I'm on Pinnacle, so we're going to move back to Bet Online, a line movement for this one. It's sitting at 2.5 for the Mount. They opened up at 2.5, went to 3 for a while, went down to 2. It's actually moved. It just moved 30 minutes ago to 2. Sorry, I got to refresh this. I'll refresh this right now. But it's at 2. So we've had a half-point move towards Mount St. Mary's at this number. And when we get to the cash flow, we have 52% of tickets and 78% of cash on Mount St. Mary's. 18% of tickets, 82% cash on the under. So feels like there's some sharp action on the Mount. Take it away for us here, Bobano. The Mountaineers, Red Foxes.
Very interesting game. First of all, it's a revenge spot for Marist. They lost earlier this season to the Mount, 65-48, and it was a blowout loss. In fact, the Mounts won 2 in a row against this team. So maybe it's just a good matchup for Mount St. Mary's, and maybe that's why the money's come in on them here. But tell you what, they're not in very good form. Other than that one win against Marist, they've lost their other 5 games. St. Peter's, Iona, Niagara, Quinnipiac, Ryder, and all 5 of those games were 4 points or more margin of defeat. So I don't think I trust Mount St. Mary's here. They're still only 2-10 straight up this year on the road, and now you're only giving them 2.5 on the road here with facing a team that's in revenge, and a Marist team that, look, the last 2 of the 3 games they've won. They at Niagara, the loss in the last 3 games was a competitive loss, 67-62. I kind of lean Marist here. The one problem with Marist is they're not typically a team I'm overly comfortable laying points with. If you look at their last several games as favorites, I think they're just 1-3 ATS their last 4 is chalk. Not exactly the kind of team that I trust laying points, even though this is only 2.5. So I ended up passing on this game. Just one of those games where, to me, the number's in a good spot. You can make a case for both sides.
Yeah, I hear you. It's until you broke down the revenge, because just from a market standpoint, I would find the Mountaineers appealing here, but there's enough to keep me off of this spot here, so that's what I will do. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. We stay in the Metro Atlantic for this one. Fairfield Stags 12-8, 6-3 in the Metro Atlantic at the Iona Gales, 9-10, 4-4 with Heinz Athletic Center in New Rochelle, New York. Take a look at this one here. We have Fairfield had their 3-game winning streak snapped. We talked about it in the Quinnipiac game. 66-64 loss at home to Quinnipiac. Probably an angry group. Iona's won 3 of their last 4. They lost at Quinnipiac in a great game, 91-87. Followed that up by beating Siena by 19 on the road. Their last 2 home games. Now, remember, they lost to Niagara, 75-73 at home, but then they beat Mount St. Mary's by 17. Then they beat Canisius by 12. So they're playing better basketball, winners of 3 of 4. But Fairfield is an angry group, 2 games back of Quinnipiac, while Iona 3.5 games back of Quinnipiac in the conference standings. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have, oh man, sorry about that. Let me get this set. Okay, for Fairfield, we're sitting with Fairfield at +5. Fairfield +5. They opened up at 4.5, got to 5.5, still a half-point move towards the Gales. Then from a total standpoint, we're sitting with a 145.5 minus 115 to the over. This opened up at 147, and it was a pretty brisk move to the, actually wasn't that fast. It took a couple hours, 3 hours to the under. But it hasn't moved since it got to that 145.5 at 2:54 p.m. yesterday. And then when we get to the cash flow for this Fairfield spot, we have 24% of the tickets and 92% of the cash on Iona. Interesting. Just 24% of the tickets. So big bets have come in on Iona. The public is on Fairfield. Then you have 36% of the tickets and 85% cash on the under. Interesting spot here in the Metro Atlantic. Take it away, Bobano. Stags, Gales.
Yeah, this should be a fun game. This should be a fun game because, you look at Fairfield, they play fast. Tobin Anderson, the head coach of Iona, who of course came over from Fairleigh Dickinson after Patino left, and remember what the job Tobin did at FDU. They got them into the tournament and pulled that big upset. He's a capable coach. And you look at it, and I think that this is one of those teams, because I trust the coach, they're going to get better probably as the season goes on, and we are seeing signs of that. I mean, they've won 3 of their last 4. Covered 3 of their last 4. At home, they've played well the last 2 times they've been here on this floor. Since losing as 9.5-point favorites to Niagara, they beat Mount St. Mary's 87-70, Canisius 70-58. So pretty impressive home wins. But this Fairfield team is playing pretty well themselves. They've been pretty solid away from home this year. They have a winning 7-4 straight up, 6-5 ATS road record. They had won 3 in a row, and they had actually won 8. They had gone 8-1 in 9 games prior to that loss against Quinnipiac, 66-64. So I don't know. I kind of want to take Fairfield here, plus the points. I mean, off a loss, that's a good spot for them. I expect them to be better here. I just don't know if I'm getting enough points. I mean, I certainly lean that way. I'm going to think about this long. I may add Fairfield at the end of the show, but for now, what I will tell you is I do like the over here in this game. I think it's because if you look at it, Iona is starting to play to the pace of what the coach wants, which is up and down, breakneck, up tempo, push the ball in transition, starting to play that way. I mean, the Siena game, you throw it out. They had a big lead. They didn't need to. They milked the clock because they were up so big. That's why that game stayed under. But if you look at that, before 3 of the last 4 Iona games had gone over the total. Fairfield's been an over machine, 8-1 to the over in their last 9 games. They're third-ranked tempo in the Metro Atlantic. And by the way, they're the number 1 offensive efficiency team in the Metro Atlantic. But they're only the number 10 team in defensive efficiency in the Metro Atlantic, Fairfield. And you would think Iona is going to be able to take advantage of that offensively here at home. So I'm leaning Fairfield. I'm going to give it some more longer thought between now and the end of the show, or at least the end of the time I'm on. But for now, we will just lock in the over, which is over 145.5 minus 106 at Proline Plus.
You got it locked in over 145.5 and minus 106. Let's move on to the next spot, and we can begin it by knowing that Joe T's best bet is Princeton Yale over 140, and it's been backed up by Billy Friedrich as well. So we have 2 strong cappers who are already on this total going over. Princeton Tigers 15-2, 3-1 in the Ivy League. Yale 13-6, 4-0 in the Ivy League. We're in New Haven for this one, and we already heard from Bobano. There's 3 teams in the Ivy League. Cornell at 4-0, Yale at 4-0, Princeton at 3-1, and we have 2 of them battling. And Princeton just lost to Cornell at Cornell, 83-68. I wish I kind of figured out the Dartmouth spot here a little earlier. Obviously I was wanting to fade them because they just shot 60%. So I had actually wanted to fade them, but here we have Yale, Princeton, and then Yale heading to Penn tomorrow. We talked about these double dip spots. And then for Princeton, they face Brown tomorrow. So it's 2 road games for these 2 squads. But back to this one, we have a clear angry Princeton squad. They were winning games comfortably. They were destroying teams at home, and then they lose at Cornell 83-68 last out. And Yale's winning comfortably. Now, Princeton beat Harvard 89-58. Yale coming off a 78-65 win at Harvard, but they're back home right now, and they've not been home often over the last stretch or in January. They have 1 home game against Columbia. So let's take a look at the line history here for this Ivy League matchup and set this up for everybody. We have what the hell's wrong with me? Why don't I? Okay, here. Sorry about that. Here we go. We have Yale -3 at -110. They opened up at -3. The first move was towards Princeton, went down to 2.5. Then it got up to 4, bouncing all over the place. Now we've had no movement. It's right back from where we started. Then let's go into the total for this Yale Princeton spot. We have a 140.5. This opened up at 141.5, dropped down to 140. Still a 1-point move to the under. So we had no movement at all on the side, and that little move towards the under. Let's get the Princeton Yale game up here, and we have 52% of the tickets and 66% of the cash on Yale. No movement. 85% of tickets and 97% of cash on the under, and a very slight move towards the under. I guess from one aspect with that, looking at the under, this is going to have a playoff type feel. This is a hugely important game in the conference. But we've already heard from Joe T and from Billy about the over. So take it away for us here, Bobano, Princeton, Yale.
Yeah, we had 3 overs with these teams head-to-head last year. Let's not forget that. The 2 regular season games went over, and so did the Ivy League Tournament Championship game between these 2 teams went over the total. And my goodness, if there's revenge gets overblown so much, but man, this is not an average revenge spot. This is Yale playing Princeton at home for the first time since Princeton went into that same building and beat them in the Ivy League title game last year, keeping them out of the tournament. So if you're ever going to look at revenge and say it means something, it matters, this would be it. for Yale tonight after Princeton went into Yale and beat them in the Ivy League championship game last year. That alone means I will not fade Yale in this spot. That being said, I think Princeton might still be the better of these two teams. Princeton's off a loss. Princeton is a team catching points. I am always interested in the Princeton Tigers whenever they're an underdog. Their long-term track record as an underdog is very good. And so for that, like, to me, this is just going to be a good game. Put my feet up, watch it. No need to bet it. Pass for me. I'm just going to enjoy it.
We have a pass here, and then we have Joe T and Billy on overs, and Benny really confident with Princeton, expecting the bounce back spot from that defeat.
Princeton catching points off a loss, that's not something I'm betting against, even with the revenge factor for Yale. Yeah.
Very, very interesting spot. Let's roll on. Next up for us, we stay in the Ivy League. We have the Columbia Lions 10-7, 1-3 in conference, at the Harvard Crimson 10-7, also 1-3 in conference. We're in Cambridge for this one. And Billy Friedrich, speaking of Billy, he gave us the under 149.5 in this one. Let's take a look at the situation here. Columbia snapped their 3-game losing streak with a home victory over the Quakers, 84-81 on Saturday. And Harvard, coming off a loss to Yale, they also have their lone victory in their last 4 games against the Quakers. They won at Pennsylvania 70-61. So the only common opponent other than Pennsylvania that they've had recently is Princeton. Harvard got destroyed by Princeton, 89-58 at Princeton, and Columbia lost just by 8, but they were at home here. Columbia, much better than some of these Lions teams we've seen in the past. We've seen some horrific Columbia basketball teams over the last 6 years or so. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We will start with the total. It's sitting at 149.5. It's opened up at 151. It got down to 149. That's the low water mark. It's now 149.5. So we have a 1.5 move there. Let's get into the spread for this one. This spread here is, sitting here at 7, -7. It's juiced to Harvard, -7, -113. This opened up at 5. So a 2-point move towards Harvard, and it's juiced for Harvard at that number. And then from a cash flow standpoint, you have 22% of tickets and 78% of cash on Harvard. 75% of tickets, 85% cash on the over. So Billy, going up against where the money is here. Let's see what Bobano is doing for this Ivy League matchup, Columbia Harvard.
To me, when I look at it, you've got what you think should be a game with a lot of points, because you've got Columbia 4th in the Ivy League in offensive efficiency, and they're better offensively than defensively. Harvard's actually a little better defensively, but top 3 teams in pace, possessions per game in the Ivy League. So my first thought was over. But then I looked at the series history, and I find that 2 of the last 3 games have stayed under. One of them had 116, one of them had 124, and the one game that went over last year with these two, the total was 138, not the 149.5 we're seeing here, and it ended with 148 as far as total points, which would not be enough to get this game over the total. So to me, they've definitely compensated for the fact that they're kind of seeing what I'm seeing, and in fact, so it's tough to go over this number with where it is, even with the fact that these are 2 pretty up-tempo teams capable of scoring. As far as the side goes with this matchup, Harvard coming off the loss against Yale, 78-65. They beat Penn. Their other losses were to Princeton, one of the best teams. The Brown loss was kind of a head-scratcher. They only lost that one by 2. They've pretty much had their way against Columbia. They've won 9 straight head-to-head. They've covered 2 in a row as well against this Columbia team. They're laying a pretty solid number here, 7. I thought 5 definitely was a little bit short. 7, I'll probably pass. And definitely for the total, I leaned over, but to me, the number was just too high. So pass all around here.
Passing all around for Bobano. I am interested in Harvard first half. Second consecutive home game. You have Columbia coming. They're playing better basketball, but they're coming from a road from home, onto the road. And I think that this is sharp money that's moving towards Harvard. I agree with you that 5 is bettable. 7, a pause. But here at first half, especially with the idea that, the teams are playing again tomorrow. Benches are going to be used a little bit in the second half. Do I really want to be so concerned late? Harvard's first half will be in addition to my card. Let's roll on, and we get to the stacks play today from Justin McKelvey, and it is Brown -2.5 here at home against the Quakers. Brown just 5-14, 1-3 in conference. We're in Providence, Rhode Island. You don't hear our guy Nasty Nate just signed up for the poker tournament. I can't wait for the poker tournament tonight. The stream starts at 7:45 p.m. The game starts at 8 p.m. You get an hour of late registration, and you can register late easily because the add-on happens at the end of the hour. So you don't need to be right on time for this one. That was something we said. We also got breaks every hour. We have the add-on. We have rebuys for the first hour. We have $50 bounties on Slaughter and myself. So that's our poker tournament here Friday tonight. And our guy Nasty Nate in business here. I saw Providence, Rhode Island. We don't hear him talk about the Brown Bears. Not one of the basketball teams that's supported by our guy Nasty Nate. But it is supported here by Justin McKelvey. Rez Mob's on the other side. He's on Penn +2.5. Nate, and thank you so much. Oh, he says Bears smash. Okay, there it is. Bears smash. And but thank you, Nate, for being a part of our poker tournament.
Hey, Nasty Nate, what happened to those Celtics last night? That's a disgrace last night. That's totally absurd. They lost that game, man. What do you have to say for yourself?
It's just their third loss home all year. You're allowed to have nights off once in a while. They've won 22 or 25 at home. I mean, that's nothing wrong with that. But that was but we see it nonstop. We see it.
They fucked up as soon as LeBron and AD were ruled out. They said, what the hell? We'll just step onto the court and do it. Sleepwalk. Yeah,
absolutely nuts here. Yeah. So here we go. We have Brown opening up at -2. The first move was towards Pennsylvania. This went down to 1, and then it got up to 3 at 1 in the morning. Now it's back to 1.5. So we have a half-point move towards these Quakers. Let's take a look at the situation as well here from a rest perspective here. We have Rez Mob heads up. Rez Mob heads up here with our guy Justin McKelvey. So let's take a look at the rest spot here for Pennsylvania Brown. All these games are at 7 p.m. We're going to get into the later games next, but all at 7 p.m. tonight, it's going off here. That's 45 minutes before our live stream for the poker game. Penn has lost 3 straight. They just lost at Columbia 84-81. Brown, on the other hand, have lost 4 or 5. They've lost 2 straight. They just lost at Dartmouth. We talked about it. They were favorites. They did not look good. Their last performance at home was very impressive. It was against Cornell. They lose by a point. They look good doing it. They've been pretty good on them. They lost by 10 to Yale. I mean, these are the best teams in the conference. So it was a bit of a shock to see them lose at Dartmouth. But again, we talked about Dartmouth shooting 60%. So both teams played on Saturday here. Do we get the Brown bounce back? From a cash flow perspective, we have it sitting here. Sorry, let's get this one up. 62% of tickets and 95% of the cash is on Brown. 62 and 95 on Brown, then 67 and 85 on the under. 95% of the cash is on Brown, and yet we have a half-point move towards the Quakers. Fishy. Bobano, can you shed some light on this Ivy League spot?
It's an interesting game. It is. It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. You got 2 obviously very dicey teams to trust. Neither one's played great. I mean, Penn's 1-5 in their last 6. Brown's 1-5 in their last 6. Brown beat Harvard. Penn beat Dartmouth. I think that's the difference to me, is I trust Brown a little bit more. Brown actually beat Harvard's not bad. Pennsylvania, the Quakers have not really beaten anybody of substance, really. You can go back even further than that. Like, they just don't have a single quality performance. It's not one of Donahue's better Penn teams. He's had better teams than this in the past. I think they're missing Jordan Dingle, who's, of course, used to be there and, of course, transferred out. I'd said 1-7 straight up on the road. That's a terrible road record for Penn. So I think if I were to bet it, I'd lean to Brown here in this game, money line. But these are 2 bad teams in a pick-em price range, 2 underwhelming teams, kind of flip a coin. I will say this as far as the conference stats are concerned. When you look at them, Brown's the better defensive team, and Brown's definitely the better offensive team as far as efficiency in this conference. In fact, there's a big gap offensively. Brown versus Penn in this game. So I would definitely lean Brown, but I think there's a better bet in this game, and that's the over. I don't understand this move. I really don't. 142 down to 139. I'm happy to take it. There's 138.5 now at Bookmaker / Chris. I'm a little perplexed by this. Brown is an over machine right now. They've been trending over of late in recent games. In fact, 5 straight Brown games have gone over the total: 146, 167, 146, 150, and 141 were the points in those games. All of them good enough to clear this total. Penn went over against Columbia. Head-to-head between these teams, we've seen 5 straight overs: 141, 150, 177, 144, and 159. All of them good enough to clear this total. I am just surprised this number's gone down like this. To me, there's not really a justification for it. I'm going to grab over 138.5 here, minus 108 at Pinnacle.
Over 138.5. And yes, this is Joe T's best bet. Pennsylvania Brown over. So you're right there with him, right there.
I don't get it. I really don't. Now, look, Penn has been playing a lot of unders. I get it. Maybe that's it. But their last game went over. Brown's been 5 straight overs, and it's been one over after another, Penn versus Brown, head-to-head. 5 meetings in a row, all overs, and all of them enough to go over whatever number you can get right now. So, like I say, no problem fading that move.
Well, let's roll on, and we have a big one. We have a big one next up. Big East action. Butler Bulldogs 14-7, 5-5 in the Big East. Of the number 13th ranked Creighton Blue Jays 16-5, 7-3 in the Big East. We're in Omaha, Nebraska for this one. Just 2 games after this, and then we get into NBA with our guy LJ from HTown. So we have Butler in the midst of a 3-game winning streak. They beat DePaul at home 74-60, easy win over a weak DePaul squad. Then they won at Georgetown. They destroyed them 90-66. Followed that up with a double overtime victory at home over Villanova 88-81. That was last Friday. For Creighton, they also have won 3 straight with some similar teams they've faced. Both teams have faced Xavier over the last 4 games. Butler lost at Xavier 85-71, and then Creighton beat Xavier at home 85-78. Now we know the difference with Xavier at home than on the road, so they're just so much stronger for us at home. But Creighton coming off just a demolishing of a weak DePaul team at home. Their 3rd straight home game here in this spot. Let's get into the line history for this one. Butler, Creighton, and set this one up. I had it set up. My bad. From a total perspective, we're sitting at 147.5. This opened up at 143.5. So we've had just a monster move towards the over. It got up to 148, though. That was a high watermark. There's been a point of buyback, but still a 3.5 point move towards the over. We get into the spread for this one, Butler Creighton. We're sitting at a 10.5. Creighton 10.5 point favorites. They opened up as 9.5 point favorites. It dropped to 9 at first, but then it came back to 9.5, and now it's at 10.5. It moved 9:39 this morning. So we have the 1 point move towards the Blue Jays. And then cash-wise here, you have 22% of the tickets and 32% of the cash on Butler. So public backing Creighton. There are some bigger bets on Butler. And then 73% of tickets and 76% of cash on the over. And we've seen the market take notice of that, and this total has climbed. It's climbed 3.5 points from the opener at BetOnline. Take it away for us here, Bobano, a big one in the Big East. Bulldogs, Blue Jays.
I guess you could say a big one. I mean, these teams are not exactly playing the greatest basketball right now, but we know they can be capable at their best. And if you're Butler, you're actually on a nice little uptick right now. But, DePaul, bad team, Georgetown, they've actually covered some numbers, Georgetown, but from still not a team that's all that great. And then Villanova's a mess right now. So how much do you want to make of that Butler win? Or that Butler 3-game win streak, I should say, in the last 3 games. Creighton, meanwhile, they've actually, you look at their last 3 games, it's been better from them. Seton Hall, Xavier, DePaul, they won by 23. They didn't cover against DePaul, didn't cover against Xavier, but they got the job done. what I like to see from this Creighton team is, inexplicably late December, they had these games where they lost to Villanova and only scored 66, lost to Marquette, they only scored 67. It's like, what happened to this offense? I mean, they're usually just such a really, really strong, good shooting team, scoring team. Their spacing on the floor is usually exquisite. We just weren't seeing that from this Creighton team. And it's especially shocking because they've got some terrific inside-outside balance with Trey Alexander and Baylor Shireman and the big guy, Ryan Kalkbrenner. They shouldn't have any issues scoring. And yet at times this year, they've had consistency with getting their offense rolling. Not lately. 97, 85, 85. The last 3 games for this Creighton Blue Jays team. Clear signs that offense is starting to roll. And I think it's probably going to roll tonight. I mean, Butler, if you look at them defensively, on the road in particular against competition that can score. The Marquette game's the anomaly, where they were 11.5-point dogs at Marquette and Butler won 16. I don't know what the fuck happened to Marquette that night offensively. But other than that, this is not a team that's defended well. Thad Matta's team's not been great defensively away from Hinkle Fieldhouse. You look at these other Big East road games, 85 given up in a loss to Providence, 86 given up in a loss to St. John's, 85 given up in a loss at Cintas Center to Xavier. Not pretty. The last game was better, 66, but you're facing a Creighton team that's really, really got a ton of confidence right now. Again, offensively playing Creighton basketball the way we think. 3 straight Creighton games have gone up and over the total as well. I'm definitely leaning Creighton here. I think this could be a double-digit victory here in this game for the Blue Jays. But even more than that, because what we have seen from Butler the last 3 games has been better, particularly at the offensive end of the court. Big time, it's been better. 90, 74, and 88 in the last 3 games. I'm going to take over in this game. Lean Creighton, but I'm going to keep Creighton off the board. Just stick to the total here. Over 146.5, minus 110 at PointsBet.
Over 146.5 at minus 110 for Bobano. You are locked in, my friend. We have 2 games left on the college basketball card. 2 games left before we get into NBA. And we now have 10 poker players in our tournament. I love to see it. 10 poker players for our tournament. Now, I can't wait for it. I really enjoy hanging out with Loshak and Jose. And we're also going to get the Pub Sports Radio debut of Joe T. We have our first 2-time winner in Dex. We don't want to see Dex's name here. But K Wolf is now in. So shout out to our guy K Wolf. I love it. And then our guy Nasty Nate. We are up to 10. We need at least 50. We had 48 last week. We got all the rule changes that we wanted. I'm so excited about it. It's my poker game no longer. Oh, we also have a player from my poker game who will be rocking with us. A great comic from up here, was a star at Second City, Robbie Nickerson. He's going to be Second City Toronto. Second City Chicago is so big, but we got Robbie Nickerson going to be in the poker tournament, and our great friend of the channel, who was one of the stars of our channel, Tim Steves. It was his poker game that we all played at for 20 years, and we lost Steves last year, so I don't have a poker game anymore. And there was a weekly poker game I played, for my whole life, and pancreas cancer took him, and I just can't wait to be playing poker with you guys. I can't wait to have a drink, play some poker, make some live bets in the sports. I'm just very, very excited. Watch our action. I can't wait for tonight. And don't forget about the 2-minute horse race. We have a 2-minute horse race. We're not doing the 2.5-hour one. 2-minute horse race right after NBA. I can't wait for that as well. So we're going to have fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. But let's roll into our last 2 games here. Bobano, my guy. And you've set me up with action, in the right amount of action. I feel good about. But we have Maction and Mountain West left. So let's go into 9 p.m. Eastern. And thank you to all who've signed up for our poker tournament. Toledo Rockets 14-7, 8-1 in the MAC at the Akron Zips. Oh, Brian saying, see if I can make it work somehow. Thank you guys. Brian Pacone saying they charge 10% on deposits. They don't. You can do email transfers now. Email transfers are beautiful for BetOnline. Absolutely beautiful. Wonderful. Glorious. Very, very glorious. So, Brian, thank you for trying to get in. Cliff Yang, no, it's just a regular tournament. So Usually it's the top 10% that get paid. Right now with 10 in, it'd be probably just first or first second, but it's just a regular old poker tournament. By the way, Team Cat Whisperer bet Brown money line this morning. Okay, I'm sorry, Top Set. That's too bad, buddy. We'd love to have you. But back to this spot. 101 Benny says, loving Akron in this spot. Haven't jumped on them yet, but plan to before a tip-off. Rez Mob says he's going to try to. Thank you, Rez. So here we go. We're at James Rhodes Arena in Akron. Let's take a look at the line history here from a spread perspective. This opened up with Toledo -5, and it took a while. It took about 11 hours, but there was a point move towards Toledo. Excuse me, Akron -5. There was a point move towards Toledo. Toledo went from +5 to +4, a half point of buyback. So we have a half point move towards Toledo. From a total standpoint, we opened up at 146. We're now at 148. So there's been a 2-point move to the over. 2-point move to the over, half point move towards the Rockets. We have 27% of tickets and 50% of the cash on Toledo. 86% of tickets on the over and no cash information, but certainly feels like Toledo is the sharp look here. Let's hear what let's set up the spot here. Toledo on a 3-game winning streak. Last 2 were at home. Beat Bowling Green by 16 and then beat up on Western Michigan by 25. And then Akron bounced back from that loss at Miami of Ohio at 70-68 by annihilating Eastern Michigan 77-46. And now they come home. Take it away for us here, Toledo, Akron. These teams are both 8-1, tied atop the MAC. Take it away, Bobano. A big one and a fun one. What's your thoughts?
It is a big one. It is a fun one. Akron, perfect 9-0 straight up at home. Coming into this game tonight, 8-1 straight up their last 9 games. They've played pretty well. But there is a but here. I see one decent team in that last 9 games, and it was Kent. And it was a good win. They go on the road. They play Kent 77-71, and they got the job done there in that game in impressive fashion. We'll see how they fare here tonight. You look at it, and so Toledo's playing absolutely outstanding basketball. They've been very good themselves on the road for the most part, including especially in the road dog role. They've only been a road underdog twice here in MAC play. 4-point dog at Kent State. They went on the road and they won 89-75. Game went over the total. Offensively, they had a great game. And at Ohio, they were a 2-point dog, and they went on the road and they won 86-77. Again, the game goes over the total. Toledo gets into the 80s and they score. I just think this is a lot of points to be given a team like Toledo, who are excellent offensively. Todd Kowalczyk is an outstanding coach. He's done an excellent job with this team. It's a rivalry setting, and if you actually look at head-to-head between these two teams, Toledo's won and covered 4 of the last 5 games. The only win for Akron came in 2022, 2 seasons ago, that Akron won at Toledo 70-62. Toledo's won and covered 4 of the last 5. They've won 8 of the last 10, and one of those 2 Akron wins was a 1-point overtime win. So we don't have series history here that indicates to me Akron's deserving of, well, they actually were when this line opened, a 5-point favorite? I thought that was a little rich, considering how capable, especially offensively. And we've seen Toledo show us against, Ohio and Kent State, 2 of the better teams on their schedule. They can go on the road and they can shoot the ball. The offense has traveled for them, and that's the strength of their team. Their defense comes and goes, but they are an excellent offensive team. They've shown that the offense can travel with them on the road. I like 2 plays here. I like Toledo plus 4.5, minus 106 at ProLine Plus, and I'm also on over 146.5, minus 125 at ProLine Plus as well.
Bobano locked in. Finally, a spot where we can roll together. I'm going to be with you on Toledo at the 4.5. This is going to be a fun game. It's going to be a tight game, and there's a lot on the line here. So I'm going to join you on Toledo. My card's shaping up, but let's go into the last game here of our college basketball breakdown. We got LJ ready to rock in NBA. 11 p.m. Eastern, San Jose State 8-13, 1-7 in the Mountain West at the Nevada Wolfpack. Been playing good ball, 16-5, 3-4 in conference, though. We're in Reno for this one. Line history-wise, we have San Jose State opening up as 12.5-point dogs. They're now 11.5-point dogs. So, 1 point move towards the ugly San Jose State squad. Then from a total perspective, this has dropped from 145 to 142. So a 1 point move towards San Jose State, a 3 point move towards the under. These are all bet online moves. As we know, they get to the market first. We have 53% of the tickets on Nevada and 80% of the cash. I'm a little surprised that this spread hasn't widened. From a total perspective, we just have 50-50 on the tickets and we have no cash information. So a little surprising that this has gone in San Jose's direction. I mean, maybe that's just saying that, God, was the public going to take a bath on this one? It's, it's kind of, it's just 53% of the tickets. So it's a 50-50 ticket count. Confusing. We have San Jose State losers of 4 straight, and they just played. We just saw them play on Tuesday at Utah State. They lost by 21, and now they head to Reno. And Nevada is coming off that loss to New Mexico. It was absolutely horrific. How is this not a Nevada bounce back spot? They just lost 89-55 to New Mexico. Now we know how good the Lobos are, but that was just an atrocity. I mean, how is this not a bounce back spot for Nevada? This is very confusing to see the big bets coming in on Nevada and the line not moving towards them. Take it away for us, Bobano. Last spot on the board. Chase J says Nevada is so ass it's not even funny. Let's hear what Bobano has to say. Take it away.
I mean, I'm not laying double digits with Nevada right now. That's for damn sure. Not with their current form. At the moment, they're 1-4 in their last 5 games, and the only victory now was a good victory against Colorado State, and it was by 13. So that's one game they've shown they can win by margin at home or against anybody, and it's not like San Jose's in great form. San Jose State, they've really hit the wall. The last 3 games, all double-digit losses to New Mexico, UNLV, and Utah State. I mean, I understand losing to New Mexico by 20 at home. I even understand losing by 21 at Utah State on the road. But what I don't understand is losing by 12 at home against UNLV. Okay, UNLV is not that great this season. So it's not like I have a boatload of confidence to take the points either with San Jose State going into this game. You look at it, all of a sudden Nevada is having issues scoring the basketball. Other than the games against Colorado State and Wyoming, this team has struggled to crack 60, albeit that was against, New Mexico, San Diego State, Boise State, good teams at that end of the floor. San Jose State's not playing a lick of defense right now. So, it's kind of an odd game where I can't trust Nevada in this price range. San Jose State's not good enough to me that I fully want to back them either. I think over-under's a coin flip, so I'm staying off this one.
There you go. Locked and loaded our college basketball card. Let's review all action here for us. Swiss Horton says Kent State -8 smash spot. We've seen this line move towards the Bulls, and I've got interest in the Bulls. I'm not betting them after the show. I'm going to wait and see how it bangs out. Bobano gets his card started with Dayton -6.5. -132. Matty Ice gave us the taint play of the day on Dayton at -7.5. And Billy Friedrich says Dayton by 15. Bobano's on the over 156. I find the line, the line where it is right now, I think is saying that Ohio State is going to be in this basketball game. Can you put a line through what the Buckeyes have done on the road? I'm not sure if you can. I don't know if I can. I've got question marks around it. I'm going to be looking at this afterwards. I did bet the under 151 in Cornell Dartmouth. I bet it during the show. I was concerned that it was going to keep moving. I thought it made perfect sense. I thought the books had shown us some concern. I'm trying to stay away from totals, but I did move on the under in that one. And that's the only bet I've made on today's card. Oh, by the way, in that Ohio State, Iowa, Bobano's on the over 156. Spreadsheet play today is on Cornell -10. Bobano's on Siena +11 and the over 136.5 at Siena Rider. I'm also interested in Manhattan. I don't know if I get there. I've got to sit with this situation, snapping their 10-game losing streak. Bobano's on the over 151.5 in Quinny, Manhattan. Bobano's on Niagara +3.5 in the over 132.5, and that correlates with the smooth balls play today from Jay Smooth. Niagara St. Peter's over 133. Mount St. Mary's Marist was a stay-off spot. Bobano moved on the over 145.5 at -106 in Fairfield, Iona. And then Joe T's best spots. I'm going to go over some of our cappers' favorite spots on the board here in college in a second. But Joe T, Penn Brown over 140 and Princeton Yale over 140. Now, Princeton Yale was a stay-off spot for us. But I'm moving on the next spot, Harvard first half. I'm moving on Harvard first half. Billy Friedrich is on Columbia, Harvard under 149.5. And then both Joe T and Bobano are on the over in Pennsylvania, Brown. Stacks play of the day is Brown -2.5, but our guy Rez Mob is on Pennsylvania, and Rez Mob has been running extremely hot. 101 Benny's play of the day is Princeton +3.5. Bobano's on the over 146.5 in Butler Creighton. He's on Toledo +4.5, and so am I. So there's a spot where 15 games. I knew there'd be one of them where we could ride together. We're riding with Toledo together, but Bobano's also on the over 146.5, and we're staying off San Jose State, Nevada. That is our show in college basketball for today. Please follow Bobano. He's working on a new Twitter account right now at Bobano Bets. He spent years and years and years building up at Bobano. So let's support.
I know, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Is it gone for good, or is there still a chance down the road?
I'm still waiting to hear back, see if I can, because I've sent them multiple requests. It's like this person, it's not me that's running that account now. And you can see the spam. I got to do it. I got to send them like pictures of the updated spam stuff and let them know this ain't me here. Yeah. And hopefully someone can get their fucking act together at Twitter X and figure out, hey, let's get this guy, let's get the rightful owner of that account back. If I can't, I can't. We'll stay at Bobano Bets.
Well, let's build at Bobano Bets for now, for our guy Bobano, and support our guy. By the way, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday night is Super Bowl NFL Pub Hub. Super Bowl NFL Pub Hub, Bobano. So we need you badly for that. Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that is NFL.
Oh, okay. I was going to say for the Super Bowl Sunday, I'm out, but I'm away at a Super Bowl party. But Monday for the lead up, for the preview show for that. Yeah. If it's Monday, I'll join for that. Yeah.
Monday at 8 p.m. here. Loved it. Loved that breakdown. Bobano, thank you for rocking with us. Any last words for the Cappers supporting the show?
No, other than have a great weekend. Let's cash some tickets. Same to you, Jimmy. Let's get that cash.
Very important. Let's do exactly that. Let's take a little look at the horse race. This will be going on right after our NBA breakdown here. We have 50 gold members, $50 a pop here. And the more members we can get in here, then we could add to the prizes. But right now, $50. So we're getting ready to go. 2-minute race today, not a 2-hour race, 2-minute race at the end of NBA. And don't forget about our poker tournament here this evening. Jose and I will be co-hosting. Peter Loshak going to be with us as well. We have 10 people signed up at this point. Is that right? Let me just go back to this here at 8 p.m. tonight. Oh, shit, I went past it. 8 p.m. tonight at Bet Online. And right now we have 11. We now have 11. Thank you. Let's just see who just joined us here. Let's go to this tourney lobby. And who did we get to? Dutch boy, fresh in business. And Dutch, Ramon and I are doing the last longer, $50 each. If anybody wants in on that, please DM me and we'll get you there. Nancy Nate says, me and 9 losers, you and 10 losers, our friend. And Kelly McKinnon said, Bobano just followed Bobano Bets. So nice touch, Kelly. All right, let's get into NBA. We have got a beauty 10-game card here, and I want in. Watching how everything banged out yesterday, it's all going according to form. These teams missing players are all stepping up. And, even in the Timberwolves Mavericks game, when the Timberwolves won by 35-40, the Mavericks covered the first quarter and the first half. I mean, it's uncanny. These teams missing players are stepping up. And then it's uncanny when there's 90% of the money on a team and the line doesn't move, that the opposition is live. And, Maxey had to go for 51 yesterday to make it so, but I stayed on the bench and it made me angry. I'm ready to fire away. Let's bring on the star of Friday night NBA coverage here on Betting with the Bag. Please welcome star of the Trill OG play of the day. We got Houston in the house. Please welcome LJ from HTown.
Pub Sports Radio's the crew, that's a fact. We all about bread, making bank accounts fat. Who the hell is that? LJ from the H, I stack green like Boston. Shout out to Nasty Nate from down south, where we ride on slabs. 420 highway smoking with that boy Dabby Cab. Swing by Dallas with them Cowboy fans so we can smoke out J Money, cause you know that's our mans. Us against the bookies, put money in our pockets. Fly out to Vegas, meet up with Ski Profit. Hit the sports books, we got money to stack. Can't forget them college picks with that boy Connor Mack.
LJ, what's happening, my man? How are you?
Jimmy, I'm doing good. It's Friday. Time to get into some NBA. And I know my record isn't the tightest right now, Jimmy, but, I believe we're going to get it together. Still a long season, so I believe I'm going to turn it around. So let's start to see if we can get some plays in today. See if we can get some money.
We do need to. This is as important of a show as you've ever had in your life right now, LJ. Let's get it. Let's get it changing. Let's get the winners rolling in, and let's get to work. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Los Angeles Clippers 31-15, 12-11 on the road at the Detroit Pistons, 6-41, 4-21 at home. We are in Detroit, Michigan here. Clippers are playing very good basketball. Over the last 5 games, 16th fastest pace, hitting 49.5% from the field, 34.4% from 3. Detroit is playing as well as they played all year. If you their season highlights were the first 2 games of the year. Since then, they've been an atrocity, but they've been pretty good over the last 5. And I just cashed with them in their last game, and it was not it was not comfortable spot, but it was the Cavs. In a kind of a meaningless spot for the Cavs, and they were working in new players, and Pistons covered easily, and Pistons were up with 3 minutes left. They're playing at 13th fastest pace, 100 possessions game, hitting 48.6% from the field and 38.9% from 3. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We're going over the pinnacle line movements. Clippers at -12 right now. They open up at -11.5. So we have a half-point move there. From a total perspective, I'll have this all set up so we can move faster. But right now, here, I just refreshed it. From a total perspective, we have a 239, -109 to the under. This opened up at 236. So we've gone up 3 points here in this one. Let's get over to the cash flow for this spot in NBA. We have 52% of the tickets and 92% of the cash on the Clippers. So big bets have come in on the Clippers. It's just a half-point move towards them. From a total scenario, same sort of deal. 52% of tickets and 93% of cash on the over at this point. But now we see the over being moved. We see the books not caring about this cash that's come in on the Clippers. Clippers bounce back from their 118-108 loss at Cleveland by easily defeating the Wizards 125-109 in Washington. This was their 6th win in 7 games. Kawhi went for 31-9-4. He also added 4 steals. He's playing very, very well. Harden put up 25, 9 boards and 5 assists and 4 blocks and 2 steals. I mean, watching him block and watching him play defense this year, you see somebody who's trying to make amends and trying to prove something here. Paul George sat out Wednesday due to groin soreness. He's not on the injury report. He's expected to play. They're 3-1 on this current 7-game road swing. They've won 14 of 17 games. The Pistons come in off their second loss in 3 games, 128-121. The Cavs on Wednesday, 2-point lead with 3 minutes left, but then they were outscored 12-3. I mean, they don't have closers, and Cunningham talked about not having closers here, and you have to learn how to close. And he was back for just the second time in 11 games. Obviously, that was a boost to my action because I didn't expect him to be in the lineup. In fact, I was sitting there waiting for him to be shut down, honestly. So having him in the lineup helped. 19.7 assists. He played well. And Gallinari. Danilo Gallinari looks like he wants to have a career here and he wants to be moved at the deadline. He's got to show out if he wants to be moved at the deadline. 20 off the bench. It's not saying much, but they're playing better basketball. They're playing better basketball. I have a recency bias of fading the Clippers in spots where I don't think they're going to care very much, and they still deliver. And there was the Raptors game. And you know what? Watching the Raptors game, when the Raptors would try to come back in that game and RJ Barrett would do something ludicrous defensively or offense, like just, not just make terrible passes, not like it was as angry as I've ever, I really saw why it was part of the deal was that he had to be sent out. Was part of the OG deal, but that's another thing we'll talk about with the Raptors. Take it away for us here, LJ. Clippers, Pistons.
Yeah, Jimmy, I do believe it's too many points. Pistons has been playing well, especially against the spread, first quarter and first half. But the Clippers overall are the better team, and more than likely, we already know they're going to win the game. But can they win by 11.5 points is the question. I may just take the team total over 125 for the Clippers because they're 8-2 to their team over in their last 10 games. But as far as the Clippers, man, 12-3 in the month of January, 28-8, Jimmy, in their last 36 games. So this is probably the best team right now in the NBA currently, and they probably will fight for that number one seed in the Western Conference when all's said and done. But for me to get paid in this game, I'm looking at the under 237.5 because the last 4 games you just mentioned, the road Clippers have played on the road versus the East, it's went under this number. And 2 out of the last 4 games, Detroit has played at home versus the West has gone under this number. So I believe the Clippers can play because good defense, keep Detroit limited on their possessions. And I believe they can hit this under, Jimmy. So I'm going to take a shot on the under 237.5. I believe the Clippers will have a substantial lead throughout this game. 11-4 against the spread in the last 15. So they're playing well, but I just think it's too much of a big number. If it was lower than 11, maybe like 7 or 8, might take a shot, but it's double digits, so I'm not going to mess with that spread. But I am going to take a prop as well. I'm going to jump on James Harden. I'm going to take his over 19.5 points, minus 108, because Detroit allows the 4th most points to the point guard. And I'm going to take a shot on his double-double, plus 117, because Detroit is allowing the most assists to the point guard position. Now, they have his assists at over 9.5, plus 108. He's hit this 4 out of his last 6 games. So for it to be plus money, I'm likely he's going to land on 9 again like he did the last game. But let's just say that he may get it with the rebounds because he's had 10, 8, 7, and 9 his last 4 games. So with the way the ball bounces off the rim, James Harden could possibly get that double-double with the rebounds or the assists. So I'm just going to take a shot on the double-double if he gets it with both. And like I say, he's had over 13.5 rebounds plus assists 4 out of his last 4 games. So those are my plays right there. James Harden double-double, over 19.5 points. And I'm going to take a shot on the under 237.5.
Well, we can give you that under at 239. It's climbing.
Okay.
So we'll give you the under 239. The Harden over 19.5 points is plus 103 at Pinnacle. And the double-double is plus 122. And Troy Torrance saying totals that move to the over and have 70% of the cash are 24 and 12 to the over. 24 and 12. Brian, it'd be great if you could join us for poker tonight, my man. See what you can do, but respect just for caring about it and thank you there. When I cashed with Detroit against the Cavs, I told myself, well, they're better than the market will be able to handle. But I have this taste in my mouth from the Clippers. The Clippers do care. They care. Harden cares, and that has changed the way when in years past the Clippers just wouldn't step up against the weakest of competition. That's not happening this year. So wine time on Clippers minus 11.5. Troy on the Pistons team total over. But I told myself I was going to be on the Pistons. Now, what's your take on Paul George coming back here? He
may. I don't know. It just depends on the match. He was named an All-Star, so that may be some extra motivation for him. But as far as their team is just playing at overall, they got some cohesiveness. Well, like you just mentioned with James Harden setting everybody up. Now I need Zubac back in that lineup, though. That's one of the main hogs I need in there. So once he comes back, I think they're going to be full throttle. But they're clicking right now, and I just think Detroit is a weak opponent for the Clippers to even be concerned. So they may come out early and blow them out and then take the foot off the gas late because they know they will have a comfortable lead. So Detroit could easily cover this 11.5. I mean, more than likely they will because they've been doing it 7-3 against the spread last 10 at home. So they've been showing us that they can cover these big numbers.
Cody Norton on the Pistons first half plus 7.5. And then what happens here, and this has been such a problem over the last week or so, is you bet the Pistons in Cunningham's not in the lineup.
Yeah.
You know, a game time decision right now. So I got a bounce. There's my guy Rube Boy in the house. And Troy Torrance says, do not fade the market when the total moves 2 points or more in either direction. All right. So 3 spots for LJ. The under 239, Harden over 19.5 points, and the double-double. We roll on. Next up at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have the Miami Heat, 25-23, 12-12 on the road at the Washington Wizards, 9-38, 3-19 at home. Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Miami snapped their ugly 7-game losing streak. I mean, that's the longest losing streak of the Spoelstra era. Wild. Miami 1-4 over the past 5, 96.4 possessions a game. 26th in the league, 44.2% from the field and 38.4% from 3. Washington 2-3 over their past 5, playing at the 4th fastest pace in the league, which they've been all year long. 102.1 possessions a game, 48.2% from the field, but just 32.4% from 3. Take a look at the line history here for our game 2 on the board. First off, the total is at 228 at minus 108. Opened up at 229. Got down to 227 before there was a buyback, but we have a 1-point move towards the under. And then from the spread situation here, we are sitting at 8 right now. It's sitting at 8 at minus 105. Miami opened up at 8.5. There's been a 0.5-point move towards the Wizards. And then cash flow wise here, you have 82% of tickets and 99% of the cash on the under, which is just nuts. And it's not moving. Then you have 35% of the tickets and 65% of the cash on the Heat. So Butler goes for 31. Jay Rich goes for 6 threes. That 24 points off the bench for the Heat. That's important because Duncan Robinson's in concussion protocol still. Bam went for 16 and 11. Tyler Hero, 14 points, 8 boards, 8 assists. That's impressive. And Terry Rozier, 5th game since being acquired and 1 of 8 from the field for 3 points. Now, he did have 10 assists, and he was playing, good team basketball, but struggling with his shot. Washington had their minus 2-game winning streak snapped in 125-109 loss at home versus the Clippers on Wednesday night. Kuzma goes for 23 in the first half, disappears in the second half. Jordan Poole set out with an illness. Marvin Bagley is a game-time decision with the back injury, and Poole still a game-time decision right now. So that's the situation. Take it away for us here, LJ. Heat, Wizards.
Yeah, Jimmy, either one of these teams can cover this spread. So I didn't make a play on this game. Both of them are trending horribly in the wrong direction. As far as Miami, 3-7 against the spread their last 10. They were only 6-10 in the month of January. They've lost 7 out of their last 8 games. So that's not a team I want to back. Wizards, same thing for me. 3-6 against the spread last 10. 2-11 at home versus the East. 0-4 at home versus the division. Now, Miami plays well versus the division, 9-2 against the spread, but the losing streak is just an eye-opener for me, so it's just something I can't back. I would lean under because Miami's 14-4 in their last 18 games to the under. The Wizards 11-3 to the under last 14. And I think all the cash you say is on the under simply because the Heat allow 108 points on the road, which is number 1 in the NBA. So they keep these teams under 110. Now, we don't know if the Wizards can get to that, And like you said, they're so unpredictable. You never know who's hot, who's going to be cold. So for all that, complete pass for me.
Butler talked about how they finally had smiles on their faces in the basketball game over the Kings on Wednesday. But I do not.
Yeah, I can't trust it.
But it does sort of make sense that would they have figured this out now? Figured out with Josh Richardson stepping up, and would they figure it out now? Best bet is in from our guy BJ. It is the Pacers. I believe I copied and pasted it. Yes, I do. I've got it already there. So we'll be talking about that shortly. Nut Flush says yes to the team total over. Torrey Coker is on the under. Yeah, I mean, do the Heat still feel that they need to show something? And if they do, would they be live early in this basketball game to carry over their success here? And is the public still sort of they've lost, some people have probably lost a lot of money on the Heat The problem is the line's not really moving in their direction here at Pinnacle. We've had the half point move towards the Wizards, and 35% of the ticket, 64% of catches on the Heat. I expect them to play better.
Yeah,
I expect them to play better here. The Wizards are such an anomaly. You just never know what the hell you're going to get, like you touched on. So I'm going to have interest here, and I'm going to need to sit on it more. But for the Heat first half, to carry over the good feeling that they had beating the Kings. Now it's game 6 for Scary Terry to get more comfortable. You have Josh Richardson coming off being involved, knowing he's going to be involved again because Duncan Robinson's out. You have Bam and Hero, everybody getting more comfortable.
And they know this team because it's in their division. Like I said, 9-2 against the spread versus their division. So
this is question marks beside Heat first half, but I do have some interest in them carrying over the good play. Let's move on to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and Ron Crawford has given us the spreadsheet play of the day on the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns 28-20, 14-9 on the road at the Atlanta Hawks, 20-27, 10-13 at home. We're at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta playing the second fastest pace in the league behind the Lakers of all teams. Lakers playing the fastest over the last 5-game stretch. Atlanta 2-3, 104.2 possessions a game, 46.5% from the field, and 35.7% from three. The Phoenix Suns are playing at the 15th fastest pace in the league, 3-2 over the past 5, but they are shooting 56.7% from the field over these last 5 games. I mean, unbelievably well, and they're shooting 40.4% from 3. So they are playing. They're playing very good basketball right now, but just 3 wins over their last 5 games. Let's get into the spread for this one. Phoenix sitting here at -3.5 at -107. This opened up at 3.5. It went to 4, and then it came back to 3.5. Now, it's fishy, and we had a fishy line on Wednesday when the Suns played the Nets, and I fell for the trap. And I only had 2 bets in NBA that night. I had Detroit, which covered, and then I lost with Brooklyn. And KD was playing inspired. He was in Brooklyn, and they gave him a good ovation. It was, KD played inspired. And when KD plays inspired, he's a very, very good basketball player. This total opened up at 247.5. There's been a 2-point move to the over 249.5. And then we have 68% of the tickets, but just 60% of the cash on the Suns. At this point, this is the kind of fishy line where I will take the dog. And there's been times where that's worked very well for me. Obviously, the last month of the season has not been good, and I'm now sitting very, very slightly in the red. So I am interested in backing the Hawks here. Unfortunately, and I mean that. It's not something I want to do. 62% of the tickets, 67% of cash on the over, and we've seen it go up 2 points. Suns coming off their second straight win, 136-120. They played without Grayson Allen. He left the Sunday game in Miami with an ankle sprain after playing for 13 minutes. He's not on the injury report. He's good to go. Hawks coming off their second straight win, 138-122 at home over the Lakers on Tuesday. This is the first of a back-to-back for the Hawks. Is that a situation where I want them? They play at Golden State tomorrow. They got DeAndre Hunter back. And for a team that's just devoid of any defensive intensity, it's a crucial addition to the team. I mean, he only played 16 minutes in the basketball game, but you felt some accountability defensively when he was out there. I don't know. Do I want to go up against Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play today? No. Why don't we hear your breakdown, LJ, Suns Hawks?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Suns early. They've been clicking in early parts of the game. 11-5 against the spread in the first half, the last 16, 7-3 against the spread, first half, last 10, 8-2 against the spread in the first half on the road, last 10. Now, the Hawks are 3-7 against the spread at home, their last 10. So I can see a game where the Suns come out, have a controllable lead during the game, going to halftime, and then maybe the Hawks put on the gas and probably come down the stretch or probably walk them down. The Suns covering with the Suns are tricky, man. They usually win the game, but they let these teams get back in these games for some reason. And it's just hard for me to trust that they could cover a spread consistently. Hawks, they've allowed 124 points at home, allowed 131 their last 3 games. Now the over 15-8 to the over as a home team. So it could possibly go over if Bill, Durant, and Booker all clicking, because we know what Trae Young, he can do, and it's just all about possessions, is what I'm trying to say in this game. If both these teams get enough possessions and they score, this total could sky over. And you know how I feel about home teams at home in front of the home crowd. A lot of times I see games in Atlanta, they get turned up on Fridays. So I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta covers this game and outright wins it, just because the Suns, they're sloppy with the ball. They're at the bottom of the league in turnovers. So they can easily get sloppy, and Atlanta can take advantage of those points off turnovers. But all in all, I'm just going to stick to the first half, Jimmy, where the Suns have been doing their best. I got it at 1.5. I don't know if you can beat that number, first half Suns. And as far as the prop, I'm going to take Durant's over 26.5 points minus 120, just because the Hawks allow the third most points to the power forward. And I'm going to trust that Kevin Durant is going to get these points on this East Coast road trip where he knows these teams that he has played in his career. So those are my 2 plays for this game.
All right, let's see if I can beat that. God, Ella's sick and the kids are yelling, and I'm trying to stay calm here because I know you guys can't hear it. It's a funny thing, it's in stand-up comedy, you can get heckled by somebody. And the first rule of being heckled is you have to repeat the heckle because not everybody in the audience heard it.
Yeah.
So if they didn't hear and then you just fucking destroy somebody on it, they think you're just the biggest asshole because they didn't hear the heckle. And that happens here because you don't hear my kids screaming. So if I just turn and lose it, I look like the asshole. So I'm trying to stay calm here. Okay, over 26.5 points is what you got on KD. Let me see if I can... God, it was really it sucked not watching the Nets Suns game was extremely frustrating because the Nets, with their offensive ability, they play with just this nonchalant. They just don't seem to care defensively, and it really drove me nuts. You can't do that against the way Booker is playing right now, and then you have an inspired Durant. I just feel like this could be a letdown spot. They wanted to win for KD. We knew that. Now they're going to have to turn it on again here on the Friday night in Atlanta, which they're more than capable of doing. Let's see what we can give you here for KD. We have the points here over 26.5 at minus 124. You got minus 120, so we'll go with yours. And what was that second spot that you wanted here?
The first half, Suns, minus 1.5.
Suns, first half, minus 1.5. Let's get you that here. See, quick line shop on the first half spread. We got you the Suns, minus 1.5. Yeah, minus 109 is the best we can give you.
Okay.
Here.
115. So.
All right, so let's grab that minus 109. I'm very interested in the Hawks. I'm very interested in the Hawks here. So we'll see how it
we can both cash.
I don't know if I'm going to get there at this point. Let's roll on. I'm going to with the card sort of comes together as we talk about it. Let's move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We have our guy BJ's best bet. Pacers money line here. Sacramento Kings 27-19, 13-11 on the road, playing their best basketball of the year at the Indiana Pacers 27-22, 16-9 at home. We are at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. The Kings had their 4-game winning streak snapped in that 115-106 loss at Miami on Wednesday night. Game 5 of a 7-game road trip, excuse me. And this is the first of a road back-to-back. They play at Chicago tomorrow night. And again, we just talked about the Hawks. This is the first of a back-to-back for the Hawks. Why do I have them playing at Golden State tomorrow? Are the Hawks really, sorry, I apologize here. Are the Hawks really, they can't be. That's wrong. They must be playing at home, right? Sorry, let me just, they're not getting on a plane flying to the West Coast. That's no way. Let me just sorry, 1 second here.
Yeah, the Hawks at home.
Hawks at home. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know why I wrote that wrong there. Okay, I'm interested in Atlanta. Rick J says Fox didn't play hard last game. Teams brought their wives to Miami. Oh, shit, I didn't know that. Okay, so let's set this up. Pacers Kings spot up. We have sorry, we just did go back to full game here. We have the Kings right now sitting at -3. And I looked at this already. There's been no movement. There's been no movement at all since this line came out. At one point, there was a 10-cent move towards the Pacers, but at this point, there's been a 3-cent move towards the Pacers. Nothing untowards. From a total perspective here, we have a 248. This opened up at 248. It got up to 248.5 for a bit. So we've got, no movement on the spread or the total. And then from a cash flow point, you have 76% of the tickets and 88% of the cash on the over, but no movement there. On the spread, you have 81% of the tickets and 87% of the cash on the Sacramento Kings, and no movement there. The teams are playing quite similar, both shooting similar over the last 5 games. Kings 49.4% from the field, 35.1% from 3. The Pacers 50.1 from the field and 36 from 3. The Kings 17th fastest pace in the NBA over that stretch, 98.9 possessions a game. Indiana's been playing quick all year and quicker with Halliburton in there. Kings had that 4-game winning streak snapped, as I said. So Sabonis 13th triple double, 19, 17, and 13, and De'Aaron Fox, as Rick J was saying, 13 points, 4 of 6 from the floor, 1 of 8 from 3. If you take Keegan Murray away from this, Sacramento shot 5 of 29 from 3. Now, wow. Keegan Murray went 7 of 11 from 3, but the rest were terrible. So is this a bounce-back spot for them? Pacers on the second half of a back-to-back after losing their second straight game, 109-105 at the Knicks last night. Tuesday and Thursday, Halliburton played consecutive games for the first time since January 8th. He'd missed 10 of 11. He only played 21 minutes and 54 seconds, and he was not pleased that he didn't play more. And we also have Mathurin. Mathurin missed the last 2 games with a toe injury. He's listed as day-to-day. So with Halliburton only playing 21-54, there is a belief that he will be back in the lineup again, despite coming back from injury. And we do know that he can only miss 4 more games this year, or he loses out on $40 million. Take it away for us here, LJ. Kings, Pacers.
Yeah, Jimmy, no play in this game. Pacers, I need Halliburton to get back consistently in that lineup and get healthy for me to put some money on them. Now, they are at home. We already know the over, 31-18, 17-8 to the over as a home team. Number 1 scoring team at home, 127 points. So, hey, if you want to trust the over, I wouldn't be mad at that. The Kings can put up points too. They're 4-1 in the last 5, but I just can't trust it. There's too many moving parts in this game, and I just have to see more of Halliburton in that lineup for me to start putting some money back on the Pacers. So we don't have to be long on this game, Jimmy. I completely passed.
Rick J saying that Fox knows fans will lose their minds if Halliburton outplays him. Robert Franklin looking at Naismith points, rebounds, and assists over 22
I like that.
and a half. This is a tough one. I do think the Kings are going to bounce back from that loss in Miami. I think they're playing the best basketball of the year. But if this market is not going to move with 82% of the tickets and 88% of cash, it's telling me that the Pacers. I'm going to have to stay off of this spot. I'm going to have to stay off of this spot because it's just there's things to like about both situations. So let's roll on. Next up, we have 8 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Raptors 17-30, 7-17 on the road at the Houston Rockets, 22-25, 17-9 at home. We're at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. So I can't wait to hear your breakdown on this, LJ. The first problem with the Raptors is, for me right now, I'd prefer RJ Barrett not to be on the floor. And he was not on the floor. Now, he looked awesome in his first few games here in the Raptors uniform, but some of his defensive lapses make me have to leave the room and go for a walk and shake it out. It's just horrific. So we play without Barrett, Quickly, and Pirtle, and we snap our 5-game losing streak. So Gary Trent goes for 24. Bruce Brown, 19 and 7 boards. Noor went for 17. Schroeder went for 16 and 10. And Thad Young, like I've been saying for so long, is a quality basketball player. He's quality in the room. He's quality on the floor. When he gets the opportunities, he steps up. He's a great passer. He's very smart, and I like him. But clearly, Pirtle needs to come back. So then the question is, who is coming back? We have no idea right now. Because even Porter is a game-time decision. So Porter, Quickly, Pirtle, and Barrett are game-time decisions right now. And I really want to know who's in because I want RJ Barrett back in. And if everybody's back in, I want the line to move, and then I want to bet Houston. I think the Rockets are going to play extremely hard for Van Fleet in this spot. And, this is game 3 of a 6-game road trip for the Raptors. But who the hell is going to be playing? I just hate this so much. I hate the NBA, keeping us in the dark here with what the hell, who's going to be on the floor when gambling is becoming legalized. From a line spread situation here, we open up at 5.5 and it moves to 6 early, and then it moves to 4.5. So from a market standpoint, the 1 point move towards the Raptors, would tell you that they're really live here. Do the Raptors care about beating Van Fleet? No, they don't at all. We no longer have Spicy P. We no longer have OG. It's a new group that we're building. No, there's no animosity. Everybody's happy that he got the bag. So it's only one way. Houston cares about getting the win for Van Fleet. I don't think the Raptors care that much about, beating Van Fleet here. Now, maybe they want to continue to play better basketball. This total opened up at 229. It's now at 231.5. Shout out to Justin McKelvey gifting a Pub Sports Radio membership. We love you, Justin. Respect. We get to hang with Justin. I can't wait to roll with Justin in San Antonio, man. Respect. And Lexicon getting the membership gifted by our guy, Justin. So from a cash flow standpoint here, you have 87% of the tickets and 96% of the cash on the Rockets. And the line's moved a point to the Raptors. So what does that tell you? It tells you that you have to bet the Raptors. I mean, 84% of the tickets, 84% of cash on the over. From the Rockets' perspective, they're coming off their second loss in 3 games, 110-99 at home versus the Pelicans on Wednesday night. Jalen Green playing very, very well. 29.8 points per game over his last 5. And then Sengun was badly outplayed by JV in that game, but it's because he was sick. So he's sick right now, but he hasn't missed a game all year, so they're going to expect him to play sick. And Brooks and Jabari Smith went 4 of 17 from the floor. So there were a lot of reasons why they lost on Wednesday night. Take it away, LJ. Your Rockets in effect here at home against the Raptors.
Yes, sir, Jimmy. I am on my Rockets. Full game, -4.5. They're coming off a loss. And like you just mentioned, all the storylines points to this game. Van Fleet playing his old team. And Toronto is coming off a win. So I believe they're going to get back down to reality, having to travel to Houston because that was a road game versus the Bulls. So now they have to come travel to Houston. We've been sitting here chilling for the past couple of days, seething that loss versus the Pelicans because I believe we had chances to win that game, but we just came up short in a lot of possessions. So I think we make up for it tonight. Home crowd, Friday night. Y'all already know how I feel. So Trill OG play of the day. -4.5, Houston Rockets, full game. We cash in, lock it in, Jimmy.
Wow. Yeah,
and I hope Pirtle comes back. I hope they all come back, Jimmy.
Well, it's down to 4. 4.5 are gone now, so we can give you the 4. Did you want first half and full game or just?
No, I'm gonna lay off the first half. I just want full game just because they're coming off a loss. Now, I may jump on the first half a couple games late, but like I said, I need Tyree Eason back in that lineup. He was almost close to play today. I had a guy text me and said that he was trying to go through the shoot around, but his leg is just still not there. So, but I just believe we're coming off a loss at home. I believe we take care of business versus Toronto because they're not a good road team. The 4-6 against spread last 10. They allow 120 points on the road, so the Rockets could easily probably hit their team total 7-3 to their team total last 10. So, all that said, I believe Rockets come out with scoring points, and we're going to get this victory tonight in front of the crowd because I will be there. So, usually when I go to the Rocket games, we cash. So, let's get it.
Do you think that Sengun might not be in the lineup because of this?
If he is, I don't think he's going to play because he's still dealing with that. So I don't think he's going to be himself. I think other players are going to have to step up. Jabari Smith needs to start stepping up. He hasn't played good since coming back from that injury, in my opinion. So I think he needs to have a good game. I think Jalen Green is going to stay consistent as well at home. So I think the camaraderie of the other players are going to help Sengun get through this sickness and get to this victory.
I mean, Anthony Richardson from Houston, he's all over Houston first half and full game. 80 right now. Right now, we have 87% of the tickets and 96% of the cash on the Rockets and the line moving towards the Raptors. So you can tell that there's going to be a whole bunch of us on the Raptors. And here we go. Speaking of it, and razor sharp picks. How could he not be? I mean, I'm going to have to bet the Raptors.
Okay.
I mean, it's just it's not. I mean, this is a pretty wild situation. Gambler's first glance is in Toronto Raptors. All right.
It's all good, Razor. We can go head to head. It's all good.
I mean, that's just you're going to be going head to head with a whole bunch of us. I mean, it's just.
Hey, I'll take it.
I don't like it. I wouldn't be doing it at a choice, but this market is screaming right now. Okay. All right. We roll on. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Eastern. We have the Golden State Warriors 20-24, 7-11 on the road. Memphis Grizzlies 18-29, 5-16 at home. FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. Warriors 2-3. See, the problem is it's a perfect gambler's first glance because my first thought was, God, I mean, Rockets at home after that law. I mean, everybody's thinking the same thing, and 96% of the cash is on it, right? I mean, I get why you like it. I get why Anthony likes it. It's a perfect gambler's first glance GFG spot. Warriors, Grizzlies, FedEx Forum, Memphis, Tennessee. As I said, both teams 2-3 over the past 5. Warriors playing 9th fastest pace in the league, 100.51 possessions game, 52% from the field, 42.9% from 3. Memphis 2-3 over the past 5, 97.2 possessions game, 25th in the league. They're shooting poorly, 43.4% from the field. Not bad from 3, 37.6, but poor from the field. Let's take a look at the line history here for Grizzlies Warriors. First off, from a total standpoint, we have a 224.5. This opened up at 223. It's gone up 1.5 to 224.5. And then let's go over to the spread. This is sitting at 8 right now at Pinnacle. It's an 8.5 at my bookie. This opened up at 7.5, got up to 8.5. It's come back to 8 right now. Take a look at the cash flow here. 68% of the tickets and 83% of the cash is on the Warriors. And from a total side of things, 83% of the tickets, 98% of cash is on the under. So, here we go. Shout out to Al Cervic in the house. Nuffle Sean says the NBA is ridiculous with this. We don't know who's playing bullshit yesterday with Lakers. Just like I told Daryl, AD can't cook, and if we don't know if he will even be in the kitchen. Yeah, it's tricky. And this one is so wild. So first off, did we go over the cash flow? I think that is crucial here. What was it again? Sorry. 83 and 98 on the under. 83% I think is 98% cash. And then on the spread, 68 and 83 on the Warriors. So the Golden State Warriors have faced or seeing an opponent that beat them earlier in the season. Yeah. This is the 11th time. So 10 times they've faced an opponent that's already beaten the Warriors, and all 10 times they've lost the rematch. The Rebenga, the Revende, I don't know if they don't care. I can't tell you why that is. But this is a situation here where they can crack that. They snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 119-107 win at home over the Sixers on Tuesday night. And then this is game 1 of a road back-to-back. They play at Atlanta tomorrow night. So Memphis is on the second half of a back-to-back after suffering their third straight loss, 108-101 at home versus the Cavs last night. They played well. But with all of the injuries that they've faced, it's really difficult for these also rans or these bench players that are getting bigger moments to do it twice in 24 hours. Very difficult. And when we saw the Mavericks on the second half of back-to-back, was it second half of back-to-back without Kyrie and yeah, it was, right? Was the second half of back-to-back? Shit, I don't even, I won't even use that as an analogy because I don't want to mess that up. But I think this is going to be tricky for the Grizzlies. Jaren Jackson Jr. took 23 shots. He played 34 minutes. He's playing so hard. You have to think that this is a spot where the Warriors are going to take care of business, but then they have to do something that they haven't done all year. Take it away for us, LJ. Warriors, Grizzlies at FedEx.
Not only that, Jimmy, Memphis is 9-0 against the spread in the last 9 games at home versus the Warriors. So they have owned this team at home, but we do know that was a different team. They had John Morant. They had everybody else, in that lineup I believe they had. So that's why that number is the way it is. But I stayed off this game, Jimmy. I don't know. Memphis on a back-to-back. Warriors having to travel on the road. This is their first road game since the tragedy of their coach. So I don't know, first road game, how they're going to respond. They're good against the spread on the road, though, 11-7. I think it's like top 3, top 4 in the league. So they do play well, 7-3 against the spread in the first half on the road, their last 10. So, but I just can't trust it. I don't know how they're going to respond. I have to see how they respond on the road for me to try to invest some money in them. So for that reason, I just passed on this game.
Yeah. If this wasn't the first half of a back-to-back, because the Warriors have a depleted bench, and now you're going to have Curb concerned to make sure that, that they have enough legs to play at Atlanta tomorrow. This is not enjoyable. Let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern, we have the Orlando Magic 25-23, 10-16 on the road. At Minnesota Timberwolves 34-14, 18-4 at home. Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Orlando 2-3 over their past 5. Both teams playing the bottom 5 speed in the NBA over this last stretch. Orlando 27th, Minnesota 29th. 97.1 possessions a game for Orlando, 95.3 for Minnesota. And Minnesota shooting the ball very well. 50.1% from the field over the last 5 games, 43.5 from 3, while Orlando 47.3 and 36.3. Take a look at the line history here for Magic Timberwolves. Start with the spread. From a spread perspective, we're sitting here with the Magic plus 6.5, minus 103. They opened up at 6.5. Within 15 minutes, this moved to 7.5, and then it moved to 8. This was at 8 this morning before there was buyback. So now we have a 4-cent move to Orlando at this price. Mm-hmm. From a total scenario, we have 211.5. This opened up at it's moved up. Sorry, this has moved up in the last 30 minutes to 213. So we've got a 1.5 move to the over. So now a full point move from the opening line. So let's take a look at the cash flow. I think this cash flow will be very telling in this spot. You have 76% of tickets and 69% of cash on the Magic. Damn, it's not really what I was looking for. So the initial move towards the Timberwolves, I wish I took a picture of what that was last night, what the numbers were, but public on the Magic here. And then from a total side of things, you have 70% of tickets and 85% cash on the over. Orlando comes in off its second win in 3 games, 108-98 at the Spurs on Wednesday. Banchero went for 25, 9, and 7, playing great basketball. Wagner, Franz, went for 28 and 5. Timberwolves coming off their second straight win in 4th and 5 games, 121-87 at home over the very undermanned Maverick squad on Wednesday. Cat went for 29 and 9. Gobert went for 17 and 6. And they played, they allowed a season low in points. They've been playing well defensively all year. Take it away for us here, LJ. Magic, Timberwolves.
Yeah, I heavy lean to the Magic in this spot. I think they cover the points, but I think Minnesota still wins the game just because they're at home. They're a great home team. But they're 5-1 against the spread at home versus the East, too. So it's just both teams, I see trends that are working in their favor. Magic 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 games at Minnesota. So they have history as well, covering the spread in Minnesota, 4-1 against the spread, last 5 on the road. So they're a good covering team on the road as well. So I heavy lean to the Magic, but I didn't make a play because I just feel I got too much action, on this card. But it's a strong, strong lean to the Magic. You just mentioned they're playing well. They got Franz back in the lineup. And I'm trusting they can come in here and give Minnesota, a good game. Anthony Edwards, he's been named to the All-Star team, so he should show out, in front of his crowd Friday nights. Like y'all know, I feel strong about these home teams as home favorites Friday in front of their fans, But Magic is a good against the spread team on the road, especially versus the Western Conference, too. 12-6 against the spread versus the West. So both teams could easily cover this game. I think Minnesota wins the game, of course, but strong lean to the Magic, but I didn't go to the window.
It's a very public spot. I am not interested in it. Interesting comment by Troy saying for the Magic to be successful, they need to score in the paint. And he says nobody scores in the paint on the Wolves.
Good point. Very good point.
It's a terrible matchup for the Magic.
Yeah.
You know what? With the public all over the Magic here, I'm going to take a closer look at the Timberwolves and God, the Magic are being disappointing. But they do step up. They do play with character. They do play with heart. And Wagner back is a big deal.
Yeah.
So, and Fanatical Jim saying Wagner props taking heavy over money. Brent Cook says Magic 114, T-Wolves 113. Said the type of game you could take Magic money line. Robert Franklin in that Grizz spot on Vince Williams over 14.5 points. Brent Cook saying Magic all day with those points. I mean, but that's a problem. The tricky thing about NBA is that those spots where everybody sort of sees the same thing right off the hop is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous in NBA. All right, let's roll on. Next up, we have 3 more games before our Friday horse race. Let's go. 8 p.m. Eastern. Charlotte Hornets 10-36, 5-18 on the road at the Oklahoma City Thunder 33-15, 18-6 at home. We're at Paycom Center, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The Hornets are, just a bad basketball team. They've lost 5 straight. They've lost 12 of 14. During these 14 games, they've been outscored by more than 16 points per game. So, interestingly enough, this spread is opened at 16. It's now at 15.5, a half-point move towards the Hornets. This total opened up at 228. It's now at 225.5, a 2.5-point move towards the under. Nutflush Allen currently looking at the Minnesota team total over. Interesting. And Billy Friedrich says the Hornets should be relegated to the WNBA. That's an interesting look there. Okay, so let's take a look at the cash flow for this spot. We have 89% of the tickets and 93% of the cash on the under. We see it dropping quickly. Then 51% of the tickets and 83% of the cash on the Charlotte Hornets.
Wow.
That's a surprise.
Yes.
Surprise. Both teams, shooting similar numbers. Charlotte, 97.3 possessions a game. OKC, 97.8. Charlotte, 45.3 from the field and 36 from 3, while OKC, 48 and 37.7. These are just the stats from the last 5 games, of course. Hornets coming off that 5th straight loss, 117-110 at home versus the Bulls on Wednesday. They're already out, Gordon Hayward and Mark Williams. And now LaMelo Ball has been out for 3 games with right ankle soreness. And they hope he's going to be back. And he must be back. He must be back. Why else would there be 83% of the cash? People must know that he's going to be back.
Mm-hmm.
He must be back. If anybody in the chat can help us, or Jose, if you could look into whether there's a feeling or a sentiment that LaMelo will be back here for this one. Then Thunder snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 105-100 victory at home over a Nuggets squad on Wednesday that was missing Jokic. Chet had a good game, but we want to see him against Jokic. He went 18-13 with 5 blocks, 3 assists, just 2 turnovers. Game 3 of a 4-game homestand. And for Oklahoma City, Jalen Williams and Isaiah Joe not in Wednesday's game. They're both not going to be here tonight. So, if you're going to look at full season stats, you have the Thunder, with the second best net rating in the NBA, plus 7.8 per 100, and the Hornets with the worst in the NBA, minus 11.8 per 100. And it's a Friday night. You know what, LJ? Why don't let's hear your thoughts here? Paycom Center, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Charlotte, Oklahoma City.
Yeah, Jimmy's pretty scary. 16-point spread. But I think the reason why they're on this is because the Hornets have had success in Oklahoma City as of late. They're 6-0 against the spread in the last 6 games in OKC. But these 2 teams are different, going into different directions now. So I want to take the full game spread just because OKC is 8-1 at home versus the East, 11-5 against the spread versus the East. So they played well in this spot, man. And they're at home Friday night, like I always say. But I just got too much bet right now to where I passed on this spread. I really wanted to take it. I believe the Hornets are reeling, and I hope LaMelo comes back because I think that's just going to throw off the team as much as well. But all that said, I got 2 props in this game. Of course, we're going to go to the most familiar one. Shai Gilgeous, over 32.5 points, minus 118 is what I got, simply because he's averaging that right now in the league. He's been named a starter to the All-Star team. So I believe he's going to want to keep proving that he belongs in that conversation, possibly of MVP as well, because I believe his name should be in the running as well. But I'm taking his points, and I'm going to take Chet Holmgren's blocks over 2.5, -126, because he averages 3 blocks a game. And I believe that he will get a lot of usage tonight. The Hornets allow the most points to the center position, 3rd most rebounds to the center position. So the fact that the Williams kid is out, that should give more possessions and more opportunities for Chet Holmgren to clean up the boards and get points on that wounded front court of the Hornets. Now, they are injured. All the sharp money's on them, but I'm just going to trust that Shea get his points, Holmgren get his blocks, and, of course, Oklahoma City should win the game. But to trust a 16-point spread is difficult in this NBA. So for that reason, I passed.
Okay, let's take a look here. And Rick J saying, is he going to play the all game? I stopped playing player props, but I wouldn't play player props when teams were over double-digit favorites because I was always too scared that my star, who I bet on, would be on the bench in the 4th quarter. Yeah. So I hear, what Rick is saying. So you need basically for Shea and Chet's props, especially Shea's, you need the Hornets to cover. Right. And that's the only way he sees the floor in the 4th quarter.
Yeah. We'll see, though. Like I said, I still believe he could get it, even if he don't play the 4th. He may go out in the 3rd. He should be able to have 30-some points in the 3rd. That's just me.
What was your juice on Holmgren blocks?
-126.
-126 for Chet over 2.5 blocks. And we can get you that 32.5 -115 at Pinnacle. Is that better than? Okay. We'll lock that in. Nufflush says, I hate how big the spread is, but what number can you get on Oklahoma City team total over? We'll grab that right now. The Oklahoma City team total over right now is 120.5 at Pinnacle, and that's juiced to the under. The Hornets is at 105, also juiced to the under. Okay, we roll on. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Eastern, New Orleans Pelicans 27-21, 13-11 on the road at San Antonio Spurs, 10-38, 5-19 at home at Frostbank Center, San Antonio, Texas. Every time my wife asks me to do something, I just close my eyes and I think about San Antonio. I think about being in San Antonio, how soon I'll be in San Antonio. I use it all the time. Anytime anything pisses me off, I just think about San Antonio, think about being there. Here we are at the Frostbank Center in San Antonio, Texas for this one. Pelicans 2-3 over the past 5, playing at the 7th fastest pace in the league, 100.9 possessions a game. Spurs just a tiny bit slower. The interesting thing, though, is Spurs were playing at the top 5 pace in the league for most of the year. They have really slowed down in their pace, now 100.20 possessions a game. So Collins Club says people just think this is way too many points to be laying in an NBA game. By the way, Robert Franklin says covers has LaMelo doubtful, and Kelly McInnes said that RotoWire has him unlikely. So a very interesting spot there, Friday night action here. Johnny K says this is a Wemby spot. Both teams shooting similarly, but the Spurs 3-point shooting has been poor, 33.8% from 3. So is the Pelicans at 35.6 from 3. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have the spread sitting right now at 8. New Orleans Pelicans -8. This is exactly where they opened. So we've had a 1 cent move towards the Pelicans, just a 1 cent move. From a total side of things, we have a 233.5. This opened at 234.5. We have a 1-point move towards the under. Then from a cash flow perspective, we have 78% of the tickets and 93% of the cash on the Pelicans.
Yep.
Jesus. And the line's not moved at all. 63% of tickets, 81% cash on the under. Pelicans had their 3-game losing streak snapped in a 110-99 win at Houston on Wednesday. Was it that nice of a win? I mean, we know that Sengun was sick. He looked awful. I don't know if it's as good maybe as we thought it was before. JV 25-14, BI 24-10, CJ went for 19. They did it without Zion and Herb Jones. Both are game time decisions at this point. Spurs coming off their second straight loss, 108-98 at home versus Magic on Wednesday. Vassell went for 26. Wemby went for 21. Shohan went for 18 and 12. and they played without Keldon Johnson and Zach Collins, who are both game time decisions. So this is the sweet spot, 6-game of a 7-game homestand. It is the first of a home back-to-back. They do face the Cavs here tomorrow night, but this market here with everybody on the Pelicans is screaming for me to be on the Spurs. I mean, and if you watch the way Pop is playing these guys, is there really any difference on the first half of back-to-back time-wise? Nobody plays huge minutes on this team.
Mm-mm.
And I guess I mean, with all of this money on the Pelicans in line not moving, let's hear what you have to say about this one. LJ, take it away. Pelicans, Spurs.
Yeah, I didn't move on the side just because the Spurs, they've been playing well against the spread, 11-5 against the spread their last 16 games. So Pelicans on the road, 7-3 against the spread, last 10 on the road. So they're both playing very well, but I think all the catches on the Pelicans just because they own the Spurs. 0-7 against the spread, last 7 versus the Pelicans. The Spurs are 0-4 against the spread, last 4 at home versus the Pelicans. And they recently just got smoked by the Pelicans, 146-110 in San Antonio. Set a franchise record, 22 3-pointers made. Now, I'm just saying we're probably not going to see that again. But, hey, Pelicans pretty much own this team, man. So, and also, they're 17-9-2 against the spread versus their division going back to last season. So, they play well in their division. I believe they should win the game, but I believe the Spurs could possibly keep it close. So I stayed off the side, but I'm going to jump on another prop in this one, Jimmy. Valanciunas, over 27.5 PRA, minus 104. 2 times he's played him already. He had a 33 and a 37 PRA. He's averaging 16, 10, and 2 versus the Spurs for his career. That puts you at a 28 PRA right there. So that consistency shows me that he's been hitting this number versus his team. So I'm going to take that and trust that he continues to be consistent with this number. And I'm going to take Wembley over 2.5 blocks, minus 126, because he's consistently hitting this block prop. He's been hitting 3 or 4 blocks, but they got it at 2.5, minus 126. He has to get 3. I believe he gets 3. So those are my 2 props in this game. But I stayed off the side just because both teams are playing very well versus the spread.
And what was your PRA with JV?
27.5.
At what?
Minus 104.
You got it. It's minus 115 at Pinnacle, so it's a good sign that Pinnacle's going up. And North Ender says Sangoon at shoot around remains questionable. Well, Andrew G giving us a final score 131-113, but I'm going to be on the Spurs here. I don't want to get cute with it, and I just want the full game, but this is Johnny K says Warriors got to be the biggest trap on the card. To me, it looks like there's a bunch of them out there. I mean, we've got the public on 90% spots where the line's not moving throughout this card, which is a great opportunity for us.
Yeah.
This has been something that I've been using to my advantage a ton, but last month has been rough. So, but okay, Spurs are going to be on my card, and I guess I should just take them full game here at the +8. But I do wonder if, God, you know what? Nuffla Sean says if you like the Spurs, look at that team total over. I will. I would be more comfortable if I had them first half and full game. I know that you're adding a huge opportunity for you to lose 2 units here. And what I wonder? I wonder, what I might do. And I'll let you guys know this because I wouldn't say this on my tweet when I announced I think if you see first half and full game, I'm going to cut 25% off of my unit size. I do not want to sit here with 2 units on this game, but I do want to be involved in both of the spots here. But then I do see you guys, Robert Franklin on the Pelicans first half, and and Billy Friedrich on the Pelicans first half. You know what? Okay, fine. I'll just keep it clean. I'll look at that team total. But it'll be the full game for sure. We have a Valanciunas PRA over 27.5, minus 104 for LJ, and Wemby over 2.5 blocks. All right, the final game before our horse race. Let's roll. 9 p.m. yesterday. Abel Alvarez with Lakers money line yesterday. Abel, you're a monster. What a call that was. Trailblazers 15-33, 6-20 on the road at the Denver Nuggets, 33-16, 19-4 home at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. Jokic still listed as questionable in this one. I wonder if anybody has information whether he's likely or what the situation is.
He has to play. He has to play.
And why is that?
Because I got money on him.
Okay, I feel you. Now people expect him to be in the lineup. I mean, they said that it was about him getting a breather.
Hey,
that wasn't a serious injury, so
it's all good.
But he is still listed as questionable. Both teams 3-2 over the past 5, and the bottom 10th in the league pace wise. Nuggets are being bottom 5 pace all year, 28th in the NBA over the last 5 games, 95.5 possessions a game. Portland 23rd at 97.57, and both teams shooting poorly, especially the Nuggets. Nuggets 44.7 from the field and 31.8% from 3. You'll always see their shooting numbers drop when Jokic isn't setting them up. Portland right now shooting quite a bit better than the Denver Nuggets. And Johnny K says he will play. Let's take a look at the line. Oh, what do you say, my man?
No, I was just agreeing with him.
From a line history standpoint, we have the Nuggets minus 12.5. I mean, that tells you that he's going to play. Opened up at 12, now at 12.5, half-point move towards them. From a total side of things here, we're sitting at a 219. This opened up at 221. We've dropped 2 points. And then cash flow-wise, 86% of the tickets and 99% of the cash is on the under. 86 and 99, and we've seen it drop to 219. That is interesting. We've seen the half-point move towards the Nuggets. So let's see what the cash flow is on the spread here. From a cash flow standpoint, you have 47% of tickets and 81% of the cash. So you have some of the public believing that Portland's going to continue to play well. So Blazers coming off their second straight win, 119-116 at home over the Bucks on Wednesday night. It was an emotional game. Dame came back. Portland stepped up. And Chauncey talking about how much it meant, and it was a turning point in the season and all that. And then these teams play here again on Sunday night. So we have that going on. Nuggets had their 2-game winning streak snapped in that 105-100 loss at OKC without Jokic. Take it away. What's your plan here?
Yeah, Jimmy, this is the finale right here. You got the right hat on, sir. We go on with Denver, of course. Jokic has to play in this game. So I am definitely on 2 spots and Jokic triple-double. But let's start off with the first quarter. Denver, 12-3 against the spread in the first quarter at home versus the Western Conference. So Denver minus 3.5 is what I bet, Jimmy. I don't know if it's still at 3.5 first quarter, but I stepped on that as well. And as far as that, because Portland is just ass in the first quarter, ladies and gentlemen. 2-8 against the spread in the first quarter on the road their last 10 games. 8-16 against the spread in the first quarter on the road overall. 3-7 against the spread in the first quarter last 10 games on the road. 1-17 on the road versus the Western Conference. 0-5 on the road versus their division. 0-6 against the spread in the last 6 games on the road in Denver. Now, I did some more digging because I wanted to see the history of these teams and how Portland comes to Denver. Ladies and gentlemen, since 2015, Portland is 2-13 in the last 15 games on the road in Denver. Not to mention 4-9 against the spread in the last 13 versus Denver overall. So y'all already know what I'm doing. I'm on Denver first quarter, and I'm on Jokic triple-double plus 135. That's my second trilogy play of the day as far as my prop, because Jokic has had this 2 out of his last 3 games, had a triple-double versus the Western Conference. And y'all already know I've been tracking this since last year. When Jokic is at home versus the West, he puts up big numbers. So I'm trusting that he's coming off his rest. He took off Wednesday night. They're coming off a loss versus a division opponent with OKC. They're coming back home in front of their home crowd Friday night. Big home favorite. Denver Nuggets, ladies and gentlemen. First quarter, minus the 3.5 is what I got. Jokic triple-double, plus 135.
Well, the triple-double is plus 166.
Whoa!
At Pinnacle. So we'll give you that. Our guy Anthony Richardson with a 4 at 99. Don't know. Thank you, Anthony. Blessing our actions. Says when LJ HTown is in the building, it's up. Respect, Anthony. Respect. So Jokic triple-double will give you plus 166. Now, great job getting the 3.5 because it's 4s across the board. The
Yeah.
cheapest book to get you the 3.5 is Pinnacle at -119,
What's the 4?
-107.
I believe they're going to be more than 2 buckets anyway. So you can get the 4. I don't care. They're going to be up by more than 2 buckets.
Let me
My
see if
opinion.
I can get you that for cheaper than -10. No, it's wow. Okay, so we'll give you the -107 then on the -4 here. And Billy Friedrich, thank you, gifting a Pub Sports a radio membership. Cocaine Cowboy picking it up. I love it. Cocaine Cowboy picking it up. So Jokic triple double plus 166. LJ is on the first quarter -4 at -107. Huh. Well, a lot of food for thought in that basketball game because I do think that the Blazers are going to probably fall apart after that emotional game. I'm not entirely sure what the best way of betting it. And maybe it is just that first quarter. I mean, obviously moving in that direction. Justin McKelvey also playing the triple double. Okay, let's review all action here in NBA and then get our horse race for $50. LJ gets his card started with the under 239 in Clippers Pistons. He's also on the over 19.5 for Harden at +103 and the double for Harden at +122. I'm interested in the Heat first half. I'm going to spend more time on it. And I'm going to bet the Hawks. I don't like it, but and I'm going to go over all of these spots and sit with them for a while here. But clearly, I want to fade the public in a bunch of these spots, and they're all over the Suns. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today is the Suns. LJ's on the Suns first half -1.5, and Durant over 26.5 points at -120. Then best bet from BJ is the Pacers money line. 5 unit spot from I'm off. LJ Rockets -4 at -110. And the market's going to force me on this Raptors spot here, unfortunately. Troy saying take the under in Washington. I'm going to copy and paste that and go over that as well. So it'd be Heat first half and possibly the under. I've tried so hard to stay away from totals, but I haven't bet one this week in NBA. I said I'd give myself one NBA under a week. And the problem is if I cash it, I'm just going to be right back in it, So Warriors, Grizzlies, we stayed off. I have interest in the Timberwolves. I'm just not sure exactly how to bet it at this point. In Hornets, Oklahoma City, we have LJ on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over 32.5 points and Chet over 2.5 blocks, -126. Spurs, I'm going to be involved in. I guess it's just full game and possibly the team total over with Nut Flush. I'm going to take a little more time on that. LJ's on Valanciunas, PRA over 27.5 and Wemby over 2.5 blocks. And Justin McKelvey also on the Heat under 228.5. Cool. I love it. I love it. And Billy Frieder says 1 a week. Everything in moderation, Jimmy, including moderation. I love you, Billy. I love capping with you, man. So LJ's on first quarter first quarter Nuggets -4, -107, and Jokic triple double. And there we go. That is our card for today. LJ, get that cash, man. Stakes are high. We've got to get stack up some winners here for you. I love capping with you, though, my friend. Can't wait to rock with you in San Antonio, man. It's going to go off. Any last words here for the cappers supporting the show, my friend? And tell us if anything's going on with the Raw Words podcast.
No, nothing's going on with it right now. I'm going to start it back up after All-Star break, after the NBA comes back, full rocks. These teams start caring more about, the game. So after All-Star break, I'm going to start back up Raw Words podcast, get some content out there, get some shows, get some picks, things like that. But as far as the chat, man, great support. Troy, Justin, Billy. I hope Justin's in San Antonio, man. I want to meet Justin.
He's locked. Yeah. He's booked.
We're gonna chop it up with Justin. But yeah, like I said, I'm working on the song too. I got a special guest too that's teetering on our new remix. And we got all these people in the chat. So y'all be looking forward to a banger in San Antonio at Popalooza 3. But yeah, as far as that, Jimmy, hopefully I can get this cash today, man. I dived deep into this card today. I know that my record is not the way it should be, but I am determined. I put in the work to change this around. So I dug deep today. Hopefully we can get some winners tonight. So let's cash, and hopefully we be the same as well. So yeah, see you next week. And always good being with you on Fridays, Jimmy. So let's get it.
Respect, LJ, my man. Respect. And Swiss says, will Swiss Horton make the remix? Gotta make the remix. Swiss Horton, you gotta make the remix, man. All right, it is time for our Pub Sports Radio $50 horse race. We have 50 thoroughbreds in line ready to get paid in full. And Razor says, good luck on all your bets, LJ, except Houston. So that's not look. I'm going to be with you on that Raptor spot. I just have to at this point. All right, they are at the post. Good
Hold
luck,
on.
everybody. Oh, sorry.
We do have a suggestion.
Okay.
I got a phone call during the show and a suggestion. People love the horse races, Jim.
Mhm.
They love it. And guess what? When you love something, you want more of it. So I'll give this idea to you, and I'll present it to the chat as well.
Sure.
Maybe we just start putting our own money in these horse races. You want in on the horse race? $5. $5 in the horse race. You know, this could be on a day we don't have the horse races, like, I don't know, Thursday. Everyone, you know, if you want in on it, $5, and you get a horse in the race. Winner take all for the pot. I'd be very interested in that, if anyone else would be as well, because, again, nothing better than betting on fake horses.
That's interesting. Yeah, we could even do it like, $20 a pop.
Yeah.
So there's like, like
Yes,
real.
of course. So, and whatever
pay.
number it is, but just the thought of betting on our own, buying a horse basically and betting it in there. So just something for you guys to marinate in the chat. Let us know if that's something you'd be interested in on Thursdays. Shout out to Nutflesh Allen.
Oh, that's interesting. Billy Friedrich says, I think we need to split up these horse races into 3 races. And then the top horses. And Swissy saying, I know you're not a fan of Tim Hortons, but would you order a double from a Jose Horton? Oh, you're damn right I would. I like all these ideas. We'll keep talking about it. I like all of these ideas. But let's get this one popped off. $50 on the line here. Let's see who gets paid in full. They are at the post. And there they go. We are off and racing here. Let's get this big screened up for me here. A little choppy. Is that a little?
There we go. We're good.
Okay,
now we're rocking.
Oh, okay. Now we're rolling. We have Nutflush Allen with the early lead here. Bunk Hoots trying to get involved. Iron Eagle on the inside, but Nutflush Allen taking a lead. Kongs Clips, and there's Preston Ekdahl. Preston Ekdahl, if he wins, it goes back into the pot. But Mikey Money in his first foray in the horse race moving forward. And there's Justin McKelvey and Director 97. Is he going to win for a third time? Jesus.
If he won a 20-1 and a 30-1 horse race, essentially, back to back. That guy needs to play the fucking lottery.
That's wild work. So, K-Wolf, and there's Kelly McInnes and C-Mac and Billy Friedrich making a move. We are at the half point of the race. Going to be moving into the stretch soon. K-Wolf up front. Saturated making a move. And there's Nasty motherfucking Nate. Nasty Nate in the house. But Saturated has put his nose up front. BT said, do you still get it even if you're not here? And yes, you do. Said Porter. Also, said Porter. Dave Burke fighting here. It is tight at the top. Sammy Calmer making an appearance.
The late pace?
And there's Crystal Craig in business as well. We are getting into the final quarter of the race here. Mikey Money still involved. Who is going to make that big run? We got 25 seconds left here. A lot of horses in line. And there's Julian Cesario. With his first lead. LJ from HTown making a move. LJ from HTown as well. Julian Cesario, we're down to the final 10 seconds. Billy Friedrich finding his lane. Billy Friedrich going to come home with it. Is it Billy Friedrich's time? Is it his time? No, it's not. Cody Norton making maybe this Philly Eagle 5 with it as well. Philly Eagle 5. LJ from HTown. LJ from H-Town, $50 richer. Bunk Hoots placing second. Philly Eagle Flyer.
Let's take him back. LJ, you did it, LJ. You won, LJ.
You won.
Congratulations. You're muted as well.
You're muted, but we know you're pumped up.
Yes. Let's get this money, man. For real. That lets you know it's going to be a good day today.
There it is. There's the sign. LJ from H-Town, $50 richer. Slaughter again, top 5, but can't seem to get there. I feel bad. It looked like Billy Friedrich was making that move, and then where is he? I can't even.
Billy Friedrich? Billy? 21st.
Jesus, 21st. He was right there. He was right there. Who came last? Let's see who came last.
Randall
Sheffield. Dabby Cab second last. Oh, he's gonna hate that. He already hates it. And Mikey Money was there in the running, but then came 48th. And Crystal Craig was making a big move and then came 43rd. Wow.
Damn, what exciting stuff. See, now imagine if we all had $20 on our horses. We would be even more into this as well. So shout out to everyone. And I like that idea, not flush. I like the tournament of horses as well.
Horses.
The tournament of horses. Yes, I like all of these ideas that we're going on here. This is all good here. Top 3 advance. I like it.
Where was Swiss?
That's a good question. Where is Swiss?
Let's pull that up. I want to see where Swiss. He said he wondering if he got scratched.
He might have gotten scratched. Swiss, are you even a gold member, Swiss?
Yeah, he's got to be a gold member. Are you a gold member, Swiss?
Well, there's the first part. I pride myself on not missing anyone. So Swiss, hopefully you aren't, because I'd feel like a dick. Because I don't think you are a late scratch, unfortunately.
Are you a gold member, Swiss? We need to know that because he's not in that group of 50, is he?
No, I don't think so. But I'm going to search you right now, Swiss, and make sure that you aren't, because I'd feel like a dick, and you aren't, Swiss. So suck it.
He has gifted about 300 memberships, probably more.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. Gave me some anxiety there, though. Worried me a little bit.
You need to upgrade, Swiss. You need to upgrade to gold here. Cody Norton says, "How do I find the poker tourney tonight? I'm on Bet Online right now. It's easy. It's at 8 p.m. tonight. Now it's a private tournament, so you need to use our password. You could type pub into the search, but just go down to 8 p.m. in the tournaments." And yes, Nasty Nate, you were right there, Nasty Nate. You had a chance at this one. You were right there. You were in the running. Yeah. In the running. But just go to the tournament. And if anybody has a problem, you can either, email us at pubsourceradio@gmail.com or DM Jose or myself. Let's go back to the poker tournament here and take a look at where we stand here. 8 p.m. I'm excited about this. Are you excited, Jose?
Of course. I have a bottle prepared for tonight's evening. I'm in the tournament. I don't have anything else going on tonight, I believe, so I can perhaps actually focus on the cards tonight.
Oh,
and I can't wait. And guess what, Jimmy? My favorite thing that we say, if this doesn't work, we'll just never do it again. We'll just fuck off. We'll never fucking do it again. We'll act like it never happened, and we'll just move on with our lives. Yes,
if you don't support the tournament, we'll never do it again.
Never again. Never once.
No, I love it. I love it. We have 12 now. We have Crash 33 has joined us. So Crash 33, Dutch Boy Fresh, myself, Joe Thompson. Joe's going to make his Pub Source Radio debut. We have K Wolf, who's very good. Nasty Nate. We have Ian Shaber, Peter Loshak, PSR Preston, Ramon Scott, Say Hey Jose, and Slaughter. I love it. I love it. So please join and support it here. And no, Swig, you don't have to get your picks in for tonight. It's next Friday.
Next Friday, yes.
Yeah. So don't worry. Swiss Horton going to be in the poker tournament. I love it. I love it.
Yes,
Swiss.
The Super Bowl's next week. Swigs. Don't worry.
Yeah, Swiggy. So the picks don't need to be until next Friday at midnight. And then also Swiss, join us on screen, man. We need Swiss. We need a little Swiss Horton action on screen with us.
Sure. So everyone's invited, like we say. If you've never done any kind of content with us and you're interested in doing stuff and want to make this a career of yours in the future, jump on with us. It's a great time to do it. Obviously, you have to build trust with Jimmy to come on betting with the bag. You can't just jump on in with betting with the bag. We need your feet to get wet first.
Nut Plus trying to get in the tournament as well. Razor Sharp Pick says he would join. But he'd rather hear Preston cry about how he doesn't support PSR. Come on, Razor. We need you in there. We need you, Razor. You're fun.
Remember, this is the poker main screen right here. You've got a lovely little tournament search bar right there. And all you have to do, PUB Pub. And you'll see it right there. So it'll be a lot of fun. as well. So shout out to that as well. So there's an easy tutorial of how to do it. Jimmy likes to download and play the app and whatnot. It works better with him. I use
It
Play
does.
Online. So yeah.
It does. It works better if you download. Download. All right, let's review all action. Stay with me here, Jose. Oh, first off, Razor Sharp Picks gave us his full Gulfstream card, so I'm going to pop that in the chat. Razor, thank you for doing that. Robert Franklin says password. Yes, it's Pub Sports Bowl, and it's case sensitive, all capitals. Pub Sports Bowl. Thank you for being a part of it, Robert, my man. I like that, Troy.
Troy just bartering with the books. I'll give you $500 to unban me.
I like it. I respect it.
Your book.
Morgan Spooner gave us Toledo plus 4.5, Mount St. Mary's plus 3, Niagara first half plus 2.5. Ian Shaber gave us Yale -1, Marist -3, Kent, Buffalo under 148.5. Billy Frieder gave us Cornell -10.5, Dayton -7.5, Quinnipiac -7, the Columbia Harvard under 149.5, Princeton Yale over 140.5. And Swiss Horton says Kent State -8. It's a smash spot, and maybe I should just stay off of that game, but I'm interested in Buffalo. Bobano's on Dayton -6.5. Matty Ice Dayton -7.5 is the taint play of the day, and Billy Friedrich says Dayton by 15. I am very interested in Ohio State. Bobano's on the over 156. I already bet the under. It's the only bet I've made. Cornell, Dartmouth under. Ron Crawford NCAA spreadsheet play days. Cornell -10. Bobano's on Siena +11 and the over 136.5. I'm going to wait on Manhattan, but I'm interested. Bobano's on the over 151.5. Bobano is on Niagara +3.5 and the over 132.5. Jay Smooth Balls play of the day is on that over in Niagara at St. Peter's. Stayed off Mount St. Mary's Marist. Bobano's on the over 145.5 in Fairfield, Iona. Joe T gave us the over in Penn, Brown, and Princeton, Yale. I'm going to be on Harvard first half. Billy Friedrich likes Columbia, Harvard under 149.5. Bobano's on the over 138.5 in Pennsylvania, Brown. Justin McKelvey gave us stacks play today, Brown. Bobano's on the over 146.5 in Butler, Creighton. I'm going to be on Toledo. Bobano is on Toledo and the over 146.5 in that one. And we stayed off San Jose State, Nevada, and you heard all our NBA action. Justin McKelvey just moved on Ohio State +5.5. I love it. That is our show for today. Nutflush Allen says, God damn it, now I'm going to go head to the offshore horse track and bet on a horse race. We are going to have more horse action here on the channel as well moving forward because we are in the run for the Kentucky Derby. Cody Norton says, I'm in the tournament section, not seeing the poker tournament. I need help. I want in. I love it, Cody. Can you pull up the one or take a second?
Cody, there's a search bar in there. It's kind of small, kind of hard to find. Top corner. I'll pull it up here again. But there's that search bar, and all you have to do there is type in pub. But like I said, it's kind of difficult to see. It is below the filter thing right there, search tournaments. And then all you have to do, like I said, PUB.
PUB, it'll take you right there. But if you just want to go down, it's at 8 p.m. If you just scroll down all the tournaments, 8 p.m., you'll see our private tournament. Come in, Cody. It'd be great to have you, my man. And Billy Friedrich's right. We have a free UFC contest. $100 goes out each week. Free UFC contest as well. Please join that. And Swiggy saying the link and the password are on the website too. Thank you, Swig, my man.
Swiggy, I'm going to just go ahead and say, Swig, you might have to start working on that horse thing. And we'll have people buy tickets on the website, on our Pub Sports website, $5 whatever tickets for the horse race on Thursdays. And then, that would be nice.
Wow.
So
Steve G's in Toronto right now for the NHL All-Star Weekend. Respect, Steve. I wish I knew. We'd go for a drink.
By the way, I'm glad you're mentioning. I cannot believe how many people have put in NHL All-Star.
I'm surprised too. It's great. I thought that
it's been shocking. Yeah, I was like, wow, I can't believe people are betting on this. So it's the first time in like 3 years anyone's doing that.
And yes, Jay's final take. Bet Online works in Toronto, and it's also the main book that we'll be using at Pubapalooza. It works everywhere. And a nice thing, Jay, if you're opening up a new account, do it on our website. It works really well because we have the 100% bonus up to $1,000. But what was I going to say about? Just the new account. But sorry. Email transfers to get your cash in Bet Online works so well, so fast, so perfect, so easy.
Yeah, I use Bitcoin as well. I don't love buying Bitcoin, but it's been pretty efficient for me as well. I use the Cash App to buy the Bitcoin and then send it from there to whatchamacallit and all that good stuff. So yeah. And by the way, Mike M dropping his NHL action in there as well.
I love it. I love it. I want people to care about hockey. If you care about
your Canucks are really good this year. I'm still shocked that you don't talk about them more. This is probably a defense mechanism, but they're the best team in the league, allegedly.
They have the most points.
Yeah, so you should be feeling great. But I do know that if you have the most points during the regular season, you lose in the first round every time. That is law. I learned that I think it was last year. Yeah.
It was the Bruins' way.
Yes. By the way, Cody Norton, I just pulled it up on my phone. So they're on the bottom little screen there, the bottom thing. You'll see the cards, and then there's like a little trophy cup. Hit that. And that trophy cup will bring you down to the tournaments, and then you'll see the search tournaments thing yet again there. So the same process, pub, and do that. Or again, you can scroll down. I find it easier, but yes.
The Dapper Capper saying, can we get a horse name out of Jose to bring us into the weekend? You know what? We needed Jose to call that race. We got to get Jose calling more races. He does a great job at that. Jose, can you do a couple things for us? Can you give us a horse neigh at the very end of everything? But can you bless our action and lead us into the future? Thank you to all the cappers in the chat. We have nothing without you guys. Love it. Nut Flush Allen says, just a heads up, guys at work, we're using the vanilla prepaid Visa card for Bet Online. Dope. Nut Flush Allen, the Dapper Capper, Johnny K, Steve G. Have a great time in Toronto. Have a great time at the All-Star festivities. There's Mikey Money, Philly Eagle Flyer, Rick J, Jay's Final Take, Troy Torrance, Rushia Jr. Rushia, we need you. No, it's not tonight for the confidence pool. No, it's next Friday, so no pressure there. Cody Norton, Billy Friedrich, Swiggy, Kong's Clips, Kelly McKinnis. What a great group. Justin McKelvey. Thank you, all you guys. Razor Sharp Picks, Morgan Spooner, Jay Vegas, Tori Coker. Thank you guys. Nasty Nate, Swiss Horton, Joe T. I can't wait to hang out with you tonight, Jose. I'm really excited about it. It's really fun. Really, really, really fun. So I'm going to pour some drinks and relax. So I got to get some. I'm going to go do the stats for NFL Pub Hub for the next 3 hours. That's what I'm going to
do. Good luck. Yeah, you'll need all those hours. Shout out to everyone. I'm scared of Rushia signing up for the poker.
He's good. He's very good. We know who's there's some skilled guys that you got to watch out.
K Wolf, our guy Dex. Don't fuck with them. Do not fuck with them. Just because they're not on screen with us.
Not flush if he's in.
Yeah, T's good. T again, another underrated poker player. Shout out to
he's really good. Yeah.
Shout out to T wherever he is. I'm excited to see him at the live poker tournament because Jimmy, I'll tell you what. Here's the thing about T. He loves some alcohol. He'll get it in him. He'll get it in him in a fast rate. And when he starts playing poker, I'm sure it'll be very interesting to see how it goes.
He'll fit in well.
Appreciate everyone. By the way, Billy Friedrich also mentioning to not do a moose noise and to make sure it's a horse. I'm thinking about that. I guess the dirty secret is they kind of are the same noise, huh? I need to diversify my noises a little bit, which is kind of facts.
You should. Let's just see. So Rushia signing up. We're gonna have Cody Norton signed up. Still at 12 right now, but get you guys get in there. Get in there.
But again, yes. And if you guys don't, we'll never do it again.
Never again.
So we appreciate you guys, Philly Eagle Flyers, Troy. And Troy, definitely, if you can't join us at the poker tournament, just join on screen. Have fun. Come on.
Yeah.
Got some shit. And by the way, Troy, I've been eagerly training for our one-on-one. Eagerly training. I'm now a gym member for like 4 months. I've been to the gym one time this year so far. So hell yeah. And I hope you're still working out, Jim.
I am, man. Every second day, baby.
Oh, every second day. Okay. All right.
Yeah, man.
All right. I'm proud of you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. These intro outros are way too long, but appreciate you guys. Good luck today. We're all going to need it. Good luck on the Raptors today, Jim. That would be my bet. If I had to bet something today, for sure, I'd be on there with you guys. But most importantly, LJ, los bookmakers.